All right. It looks like things are getting ready to improve. Fingers crossed. Eastbound 24. It is down to a 10-minute delay now, but right three lanes still blocked there at Laverne for some road work. Got a crash now over by the airport, Donaldson Pike at Murfreesboro Pike. And then in Franklin, we've got debris in the right lane, 65 southbound, right before Murfreesboro Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends and neighbors. Welcome in. Glad to have you with us. Let's go for another day. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being around with us. I hope you're able to give us the full 4 hours. If not, whatever time you're able to give us, we're appreciative of it. It's episode 979 of our gatherings together. We're found on a variety of platforms. We like to tell you about those, inundate you with those at the beginning of the show so you can carry us wherever you might go. We're on TuneIn. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeart. We're on our own app, supertalk997wtn.com. That is not a website. I don't know why I just did that. I'm a little out of it today, so y'all will have to forgive me. I don't know why. Maybe it's allergies. Maybe I'm coming down with something. Perhaps I have a tumor. I have no idea, but I'm a bit out of it, so you'll forgive me, I beg of you. But anyway, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, our app, supertalk997 WTN, and then, of course, Talk TV. As it is. Still working on Talk TV. It's my understanding that we're waiting on parts, and then as soon as we get parts in, we'll get that back up and running ASAP. And when I say up and running, Talk Television is running. It's just, they call it the lag in the business. I don't really know what that means, but it lags from time to time. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Rumble, that is not your system. That is our system. And we apologize for that. We're doing the best I can. The squirrels are running as fast as they possibly can in those little treadmills, and we will get everything A-OK as soon as the parts come in. So that at least that's what I'm told. And I'm just the messenger here. Don't kill the messenger. Speaking of not killing the messenger, there's Jackson Williams. He's behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. Hello.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. How was The Rookie last night?
It was wonderful. Great
episode.
It?
Yeah. Were you not going to tell anybody that it changed over to Mondays? Because Erica is not very happy with you right now.
I texted you last Monday about it moving to Mondays.
Well, you texted me. That's the problem. As soon as I see, I just ignore it completely and just move on.
Great show.
It's a fascinating thing that you and my wife have such similar taste in television programming. Fascinating. I'm not commenting on it. I'm not suggesting that there's any sort of negative anything surrounding that. I'm fascinated by the fact that it is.
Here's the thing. The Rookie got really popular on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where, like, the younger demographic found it.
On the talk?
Yes.
They call it? On the talk?
That's where I found it, at least.
You found it on the talk, did you?
I did.
How'd you find that 911 show?
Same thing.
Same thing?
People just post clips to it on there.
Excuse me. Not only am I tiring of this discussion, but Ken Weaver's got something to say. Ken Weaver's back! In News Closet B, he gathers headlines twice an hour, and when it breaks, he gathers it constantly, delivers it twice an hour, and when it breaks. Man, oh man, I wish I could start this show over. Golly.
How about you boys?
What's up, Weaver?
Nothing much, man.
I wish that you had not alerted me to the issues on I-65 in the Columbia area, because I could have been late and I would not have screwed the show up in the fashion that I've been doing.
You're doing fine, Brother Murphy.
It's just every other day.
Listen, if I'm batting 50%, I could do the weather or play Major League Baseball.
That's batting 500, baby.
That's batting 500. I'm in the Hall of Fame, pal.
Ooh.
Come on. We've got a lot to get into today, fellas. Obviously, there's some local news going on. We don't know anything about this ICE detention facility. Dan Mandis and I think very similarly. I'll tell you that in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, we're insanely different people. But when it comes to trying to get information to the general public, we think similarly from time to time. And so I wasn't aware until the last newscast that, Dan, I must have missed Senator Mark Pody on Nashville's Morning News this morning, because I have reached out to Senator Mark Pody to have him on the show this afternoon. But we might do that anyway if there's an update, because apparently Immigration and Customs Enforcement, not that I'm against any of this, they want to open up a facility out in Lebanon, and that's cool, but no one seems to know what's going on or where it is or what.
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
It is weird. It is weird.
Especially since reports say ICE is claiming more than 7,000 jobs this thing's going to create.
Yeah, and I assume that's construction work on the facility.
That's all I can figure.
Obviously, if it employed 7,000 people permanently, it would be one of the largest employers in this region. And I don't think that's the case. So I would assume that many of those are temporary type jobs. That's probably the total number that they anticipate that it's going to employ, permanent and temporary. One way or the other, I'm all good with it. I just don't understand why state and local officials either A, don't know anything about it, or B, they know something about it and don't want to talk about it. Now, I believe Mark Pody when he says he doesn't know anything about it, but I also reached out to the governor's office, and I've yet to get anything back from the governor's office. Here, let me turn this television off of sports.
Sports?
Yeah, Chad watches sports.
Oh, yeah, he was watching one of the channels that runs
That's
the
all good.
Olympics.
That's all good, one way or the other. So, so who knows what's going on out there? We'll try to break it down for you. We will speak to Representative John Rose, not only about the possibility that we have some sort of partial government. I mean, I guess we've got a partial government shutdown happening right now. Although the Democrats are doing this to try to impact Immigration and Customs Enforcement work, they're not impacting any of that work because ICE is fully funded thanks to the big, beautiful bill through 2028. They are impacting other areas of the Department of Homeland Security, supposedly TSA, although TSA says they're fine right now. So I don't know what's shut down. This is the worst government shutdown in the history of government shutdowns. And trust me, I know government shutdowns, and this one is not very good. So we'll speak to John Rose about that. We will talk to him about TVA and some of their shenanigans that they're engaged in up in Sumner County. We will also talk to him about he's kind of going after Core Civic. Core Civic is a private organization, and I understand they're an easy punching bag, right? Because they run prisons. And, nobody's out there rah-rahing about our prisons, whether they're state-run or whether they're privately run. But apparently Core Civic has had a couple of issues over the years with regard to how they manage the prisons. I put some of this responsibility on the commissioner of the Department of Corrections. That's what's that fellow's name? Strada. I think some of the Frank Strada. So we're going to talk to John Rose about this and figure out exactly what he wants to do about it and how much he knows and whether or not it would impact in any sort of positive way our prison systems here in the state of Tennessee, amongst and we'll talk to John about a couple of other things. If you've got anything on your mind, you're always welcome on the Super Text line at 615-737-9986. Speaking of you on the phones, love to hear from you. I've got a call out to, what's this guy's name again? Oh, I had him right here. He is supposedly he is the owner of Acme Feed and Seed, although there's a dispute whether or not Tom Morales is the or one of the owners of Acme Feed and Seed. There are several. I've posted about this on social media platforms like my Twitter feed. You can go to the X Machine, at Matt Murphy Show, and find me over there, at Matt Murphy Show. Follow, and I promise you I'm entertaining, especially when I've had a few. So Tom Morales is apparently the owner, and some people say that there's another ownership group. I don't know. I don't think it matters, honestly. And Morales is the latest in a line of business owners in the city of Nashville that have alerted the city of Nashville, hey, guys, we can't do this very much longer. This meaning paying the dramatically onerous property taxes initiated by Cooper before him and now Mayor Freddie O'Connell today. And Freddie O'Connell doesn't seem to give a rip. Now, we've reached out to the mayor's office. Freddie's been on this show in the past, and I actually was asking Freddie to come on the show to give a follow-up on Nashville Electric Service and tell us exactly where we are and what we're doing in that regard. And in following up on the follow-up, I talked to his people in the mayor's office in the city of Nashville and said, hey, you know, they originally said I offered them anytime this week, and they said they were checking, and that was last week. And I doubled it down on it this morning, said just touching base, possibly getting the mayor on today or anytime this week. And I was told that, at least as of today, the earliest that he could schedule. Y'all ready for this? When do you think the mayor can schedule some time with us, Jackson?
April 15th.
Let's not be silly, Jackson. It's not April 15th. Come on. It's way before then. It's February the 26th.
Oh, it's next week.
That's 9 days from now. At 1:45 in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. And I suppose they know we're not on the air then, but that's fine. I agreed to it. I said, we'll pre-tape. Because here's the thing. Does Freddie O'Connell loves to tout when he comes on our radio show how much he loves the fabric of Nashville, how he grew up here, how he loves going to Robert's Western World and having a PBR with the folks, how he loves the bones of Nashville and what this city has meant to so many that have lived here for so long. Yet when it comes to management of the city in a way where these local business, these iconic businesses can manage to survive, he doesn't seem to care. Matter of fact, according to a news story out of Fox 17, he just said it, that he didn't really care. Apparently, Freddie O'Connell, when alerted to the idea that there are business concerns regarding whether or not these operations can remain in business, not just on Lower Broadway, folks. And I understand that many of us, I would include myself, I can't remember the last time I went to Lower Broadway. I suppose it was when someone was in town. Matter of fact, I think the last time I was down there is when you and I were down there, Jackson, after the football game.
We had a good time.
We did have a great time. I mean, it's good when you go down there, but you pay for it. And a lot of times we're like, oh, my God, these business operations, they're gouging us with their stupid $16, $17 beers. This is ridiculous. They're getting rich on us. Well, Morales and others on Lower Broadway would like to remind you, not only are their leases insanely high because of the property value evaluations and some of the sale prices that are going on down there, and I know that the city doesn't have anything to do with that, but now it's the property taxes that they're having to pay. So if you've not heard, Mayor Freddie O'Connell basically has stated that if a business like Acme Feed and Seed, so Acme Feed and Seed, and I did a little sleuthing this morning, and I wasn't up with this, but apparently it was an iconic building. It's been down there forever. It operated as an actual feed and seed store until the late 1990s. The landmark location was set for total demolition or renovation, and one of the men responsible for preserving it is a fellow by the name of Tom Morales. Tom Morales helped preserve Loveless Cafe, which is an iconic location in Nashville. He also helped preserve the Woolworth building and the lunch counter at the Woolworth, which was obviously significant within the civil rights history of this city and this state and this country. And he preserved the Acme Feed and Seed, which was operating downtown for 56 years before closing in 1999. According to the article by Fox 17, when Morales saw the building vacant for more than a decade, he decided to bring it back, not as a theme park, but as the real thing. Morales revamped it and spent a lot of money refurbishing it, rallied investors to save what we know as the Loveless Cafe when it faced a demolition to make way for a strip mall. He helped preserve the historic Woolworth lunch counter as well. Morales said that their property taxes at Acme, and understand something, I mean, I'm sure they make a decent amount of money, and it's obviously in a insanely expensive location. Their property tax nut went from $129,000 a year to $600,000 a year. Nearly $500,000 increase in a single year. Now, this is after we talked to, is it Carrie Bringle? I think that's right, with Peg Leg Porker. Why can't I remember his name? I don't know why, but Peg Leg Porker. And he said he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the increase in property taxes. We heard from the owner of Arnold's, and Arnold's closed down and then opened back up, and they said they can't handle the insane property taxes. Local business owners are getting pushed out of this community in favor of these big, rich, corporate fat cats. And I'm wondering, who's here speaking for the little guy? Who's here speaking for these businesses that have been iconic in the city of Nashville way longer than Matt Murphy's been here? And in response, Morales said he asked Mayor Freddie O'Connell for a meeting to discuss relief. The mayor did not respond. When Fox News, that's Fox 17 Local, asked the mayor directly whether the city would step in, Mayor O'Connell said, quote, "It's not up to me whether he keeps that business open. The market evolves. New businesses start even as beloved old businesses close." In other words, if he dies, he dies. It's like Ivan Drago in Rocky IV when he kills Apollo Creed. Hey, look at what you did. If he dies, he dies. Whatever. Who cares? Screw him. Exit in, screw you. Ryman Auditorium, see you, pal. Whatever. Ernest Tubb Record Shop, there'll be more. Tootsie's, to hell with you. I mean, is that your attitude? Honestly? In the meantime, in order to stay afloat, these businesses, rightly so in many ways, are being criticized for the amount of money they're charging. You go down to Lower Broadway, and I know many of you don't regularly, but you go down to Lower Broadway, and you're spending an arm and a leg just to have a couple of appetizers and a few drinks with some friends, and we blame the businesses, but a lot of times the businesses have to charge that just to maintain in the black. So I've got a call out to Tom Morales, and hopefully he'll answer that call, and we'll have him on. We also have a call out to Mayor Freddie O'Connell. We'd love to get your thoughts on all of it. I mean, maybe you don't care. I mean, what they are about to do is kill the golden goose. Right now, outside of Davidson County, our property taxes in the state of Tennessee are relatively low. Obviously, we do not have an income tax in the state of Tennessee. Yes, we pay sales taxes, but consumer-based taxes, consumption-based taxes, that's the way that it ought to be. But I promise you this, folks. When the tourists stop coming to this state, and I'm not predicting it's going to happen anytime tomorrow or the next week or the next month, but eventually it will happen. They'll stop coming here. As much as they love the topography, as much as they love the hospitality, as much as they love the friendliness, as much as they love the iconic nature, they'll stop coming here. When what makes Nashville special goes away because they can't afford to be here anymore and it's replaced by a damn Olive Garden, they'll stop coming here. And the government is still going to want its money. And when they can't get it from the tourists, they'll get it from you. Meantime, they're spending money hand over fist on that East Bank. I guess maybe Freddie O'Connell just doesn't think that Morales and these other folks are serious. Maybe he doesn't think Arnold's is serious. Maybe he doesn't think Bringle with peg leg porker is serious. 9055 says, I'm glad we live in Robertson County and Davidson has Freddie. They voted for him. They better. Well, look, it's going to impact you too, Robertson County, because the amount of money that comes into the state via tourism is largely because of Nashville, not because of Robertson County. No offense to Robertson County. I cannot impress upon you enough, if you live in the outskirts, how much Davidson County impacts you. Whether you want it to or not, whether you want to believe it or not, I don't give a crap about no Nashville. Screw Nashville. Well, you better. Nashville's the golden goose. And Freddie's killing him. Freddie's killing the golden goose. 26 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast. Another traffic update here in 5 minutes. An 18-year-old man's in custody after sprinting toward the U.S. Capitol with a loaded shotgun this afternoon. Capitol Police intercepted him within seconds, recovered extra rounds, a Kevlar helmet, a gas mask from his car. The suspect is not from the Washington area, was unknown to law enforcement. Authorities say there's no ongoing threat as they continue to investigate. Congress, by the way, they're all home. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case returned to the spotlight after authorities mistakenly deported him to El Salvador despite a court order protecting him from removal. His next legal challenge is in Tennessee, where he's fighting human smuggling charges that his attorneys argue amount to selective prosecution. Multiple reports say U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has confirmed it purchased a facility in Lebanon to house detainees in Wilson County. The agency says the project could bring more than 7,000 jobs, generate over $800 million in economic impact. Local and state leaders say they were caught off guard, some lawmakers insisting they had no prior notice. News 2 says the Wilson County Commission meets tonight and will discuss it. Meanwhile, the Wilson County Democratic Party posting on social media for people to show up and speak out against the facility and claims a petition has at least 2,000 signatures on it so far. Civil rights icon and two-time presidential candidate Jesse Jackson has died. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope.
He had been leading civil rights demonstrations for decades. In 1984, Jesse Jackson founded the National Rainbow Coalition, later to become the Rainbow Push Coalition, which he led until a 2017 Parkinson's diagnosis forced him to step down.
Resigning, we're not retiring.
And indeed, 3 years later, he was front and center during the pandemic.
Please get your vaccination now. They work, they matter.
Jesse Jackson was surrounded by family when he died at 84. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still got some road work eastbound 24 there in Laverne. My screen showing the right 3 lanes are blocked, but it's only a 9-minute delay right now. Over by the airport, a crash reported. Donaldson Pike at Murfreesboro Pike. Disabled vehicle off on the shoulder. They're about to clear that up. Charlotte Avenue at 51st Avenue. I'm Ken Weaver.
I want to spend a moment talking to you specifically about the Smart Care plan offered by Grace Point Healthcare, which is a direct pay primary care provider. In other words, they're your doctor. They're your medical professional. From newborns to seniors, they can assist you finding the right path forward and eliminating and alleviating whatever issues you might have and getting to the root cause of the problems that you have. They do so in a direct pay format because they never want an insurance company or pharmaceutical industry getting in the way of their diagnosis for their patients. And that's the way they do their business. Now, the Smart Care plan is simple. If you sign up, $99 for grown-ups, $79 for the kids, you can pay this through your HSA, and it covers you for the entire year for basic, walk-ups for any visit, any office visit that you have throughout the course of the year, plus free basic labs and diagnostics. They'll even do house calls if you're feeling too bad to leave the house. I mean, they understand when you're sick, and in the cold and flu season, like we're in the midst of, you want to get in same day or next day, and you do, even for brand new patients. They don't believe in these long wait times that some of the other companies do. Grace Point Healthcare, their modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. I encourage you to give them a call, located in the heart of Franklin, 599-6868, 599-6868. You really can afford exceptional medicine at your convenience. Oh, I'm sorry. I was typing a message to Gavin Newsom. Gavin is mouthing off about how awesome California is. What an absolute joke this guy is. So apparently he and Marsha Blackburn were getting into it. Marsha said, looks like Gavin Newsom, this is from yesterday apparently, looks like Gavin Newsom will be in Nashville this coming weekend. As governor of California, he's driven his state into becoming the most unaffordable in America. Tennesseans have worked too hard to build what we have, and we're not interested in Gavin Newsom's failed radical left policies that have wrecked California. Gavin Newsom is running for president of the United States, as everyone knows. Gavin, in turn, wrote this, and I'm curious if any of you have any thoughts on it, especially those of you that migrated from California. Gavin said to Senator Blackburn, "Spare me, Marsha. Tennessee's violent crime rate is one of the highest in the nation." You know, if you take Memphis out of the equation. Anyway, and although Memphis's crime rate is going down precipitously, thank you to the federal government in conjunction with the state of Tennessee. Anyway, spare me, Marsha. Tennessee's violent crime rate is one of the highest in the nation. Californians make more money, live longer, and are overall happier, while you promote policies that have resulted in lawlessness and higher depression rates. Does anyone believe that? Like, per capita, California does not report all of their violent crime to the FBI, which skews the statistics. Number two, California has a lot of areas that are, relatively speaking, low crime because they keep the criminals out in their gated communities in many of these regions. Number three, you know, I've not been. I can't speak to it. But the people that have tell me that if you can step over the needles and the poop and the homelessness and the drug addicts and the tent encampments in these major cities, that California is a lovely place. Oh, don't stay there, though, because you can't afford to. There's a reason why more people move out of California every year than any other state in the union. It's because California has everything that it needs to be an oasis, a paradise, and it's not. Well, dang it, I was going to Vicky to talk about Acme Feed and Seed, and she hung up. That's too bad. Y'all call me, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Brian writes in, and he's right. It's just like a communist to say that government can cure depression. Gavin is attempting to woo us with kindness, I guess, or he's trying to kill us with kind words in an effort to get some votes out of Tennessee. I don't know. 6838 says, the only time I was ever been robbed at gunpoint was in Oakland, California. And, you know, if California is such an awesome place, why are people moving out of California in droves? Why are they moving to Florida? Why are they moving to Texas? Why are they moving to Tennessee? Why are they moving to other parts of the Southeast? You know, Gavin Newsom is just full of garbage. The former Californians that are fleeing here, our main concern about them fleeing here is that they don't bring the same type of voting patterns that got them into the nonsense mess that they were running from. Number two, I love it when Democrats like Gavin Newsom try to throw crime statistics in our face. When you sit down and you look where the crime is, the crime in the state of Tennessee exists almost exclusively where Democrats have control. The city of Knoxville, Nashville, and Memphis. The city of Knoxville, Nashville, and Memphis. A little bit of crime in Chat, but not much. So it's amazing to me how Democrats will ignore when you try to subdivide those types of things. Where's all the violent crime coming from in Tennessee there, Gavin? In liberal enclaves that still exist. And, by the way, the local leadership in Memphis that told us for years that they couldn't do anything about the crime, that they were trying their hardest, that they were doing their best. The federal government steps in with some resources, along with the state of Tennessee, with the blessing of Governor Bill Lee, and they're cleaning up the crime problem in Memphis. And people in Memphis are saying that they can actually go outside after dark again. Thanks to that response. Just ridiculous. Dinah is next. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Dinah? Is it Dinah or Dina?
It's Dina.
Hello, Dina. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
Okay, first of all, Gavin is a joke. Second of all, I've spoken with probably at least 15 to 20 different people that have moved here from California that are either Republican or conservative. The main reason, all of them, the main reason they got out of there is because the crimes and the liberal BS that's going on a daily basis. And at least the 25 people that I've talked to, one of which has become a very good friend of mine, they're not going to vote blue. So, and the reason that they left is California's an armpit.
California's a what?
Armpit.
Oh yeah. Well,
like
no, once again, I've reached a point in my life. I always said I wanted to get out to California, and for some reason I never did. I've been to every other portion of the United States of America, I'm proud to say, and I've had the opportunity to travel all up and down the eastern seaboard, to Chicago, to the Midwest. I've been out to Nevada, been out to New Mexico, obviously multiple times, family out there. But I've never been to California. It feels weird at the age of 52 to say that, but it's true. Never been to California. So I cannot speak personally about California. But those that have been there, those that have lived there, I know plenty of people. I mean, obviously, Dan Mandis grew up there. Chad was there for a period in time. I know plenty of people that came from there. Our good friend Steve Abramowitz with Heartland Journal was out on the West Coast for a long time. They all say the same thing. It is the most beautiful region of the world. I mean, that just has such insanely great natural beauty. Has great weather conditions in many portions of that huge state. And the politicians have absolutely destroyed it as a place of livability for middle-class America. Just destroyed it. You ever been to California there, Jackson?
Yep, went to Disneyland, rode the Matterhorn.
Dan, I'm told.
Got me some mouse ears.
How old were you?
15.
Your mouse ears say Jackson on them?
No.
No, you didn't get a little writing on
No,
there?
I got those. I went to Disney World when I was like 7. I
Mm-hmm.
got the.
You know, I'm told that if you've been to Disney World, when you go to Disneyland, it's a big disappointment.
It's.
A lot smaller.
Yeah, so last time I went to Disney World, we went on my senior trip when I was like 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been to Disneyland. Disney World was way bigger and better.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was the second generation. I mean, it was the second iteration of
Disneyland is cool though because it's historic. It's kind of like the OG.
All right,
It's got a lot of the
What is the Matterhorn? Is a roller coaster? I assume?
bobsled coaster.
Okay,
Woo! Woo!
that sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like the log flume out at Opryland, USA.
Never got to go to Opryland.
Yeah, I saw a 30-minute
YouTube video. Did you watch the Yesterworld?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was.
I watched the same one like
I think it
2
was.
nights ago.
I did. That was about when I watched it. Yeah, that's very good. We're talking about the history of what it was and what they were trying to do and why it shut down the way that it did. Ken, you ever been out to Cali?
I have never been to California. I lived there right next to it and never went.
I mean, you were in Idaho.
I was in Idaho, yeah. Went to Oregon, but
Yeah.
I didn't go to California.
Yeah. Or you probably got enough of California and Oregon.
Well, I got enough of California in Boise because that's where everybody moved to Boise from was California, complaining about this was 10 years ago. more than 10 years ago, they were complaining about California then as far as taxes and traffic and
Whoa,
crime.
whoa, Ken. I just ask you to do the real news. Gavin Newsom has assured us that there is no real crime in California, and the taxes are relatively low. They make more money in California than anywhere else in the world, according to Gavin Newsom.
He has not been watching The Rookie because they're just having a tough time.
They're having a difficult time over there in Cali. I believe Vicky is back, and I'm glad she is. Vicky wanted to talk about the Acme Feed and Seed. We were discussing that before we get off on a tangent on Gavin Newsom in California. Hello, Vicky. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Should I be on speakerphone or not?
You sound fine to me, Vicky. So as long as you sound good to me and sound good to the audience, you're A-okay.
Oh, great. Well, I just wanted to say I care a lot about Acme Feed and Seed and Ernest Tubbs and all of our historic locations. And I just want to say a big thank you to Tom Morales. He's an awesome guy that saved so many things. But don't we have some kind of a historic organization that wants to preserve stuff in Nashville? I mean, I'm ignorant about that kind of stuff, but if we don't, I mean, there's so much money in Nashville. Couldn't we do a GoFundMe and help these businesses out?
Well, what we need to do is demand that our city leadership listen to the business owners that are set to shut down and do something about the onerous property taxes that they put on businesses and residents alike. Sadly,
yeah, they have to start voting, voting the right way.
It is true. Obviously, I'm not in the business of, let's say it this way. I think we need to get the word out as to why the businesses are operating in the fashion that they are. The fact that we get this word out should be enough to level somewhat of a line in the sand to these politicians that we simply cannot survive, and they're going to slay the golden goose. I don't know that we need corporate or business charity in order to solve this problem as much as we need public awareness as to where the problem comes from. You know what I mean?
No, it shouldn't take charity. It really shouldn't. Well, this story has been going on for decades. We had a business down on 2nd Avenue and Broadway in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. And do you know that back then we were on the historic register nationwide for the longest string of German buildings built on a river in the United States. And we lost that status when Opryland tore down a building on 2nd Avenue and built the Wild Horse Saloon. That was the end of that. And as soon as that happened, our rent went up from, I don't know, affordable to like $2,000 a month, which is nothing now, but back then it was something. So we had to move our business inside of Thousand Faces. Linda was Thousand Faces. She took us in. And then there was a fire upstairs, and we had to move out of there. But we bought Ernest Tubbs record shops, all of their album, everything that held their albums. I can't think of what you call them. And we moved in next door to Acme Feed and Seed, upstairs across from the Hard Rock, with a vintage vinyl shop.
Mm-hmm.
And we were ready to open our doors, and somebody walked in and said, "Oh, y'all have to move out. B.B. King wants to buy this building."
What?
So we were going to be across from Hard Rock, man. We were just so happy.
Aww.
But it's an ongoing saga.
Well,
that just keeps getting worse.
Vicky, if you know, I don't know if you know Tom personally, but if you do, tell him that I want him on the show. I'd love to have Tom Morales on the show to tell his story about his vision to save the Loveless, his vision to save Woolworth, and his vision to save Acme, and how, sadly, the lack of vision on the part of the city leadership today is set to potentially close at least one of those three iconic properties down.
Yeah, I wish I did know him that well. I've known of him and been around his circle since the 80s, but I really don't know him personally. But I do know Acme Feed and Seed. I bought my dog food there. I even have a bench in front of my garage that was built there.
That's
that
cool.
I mean, it's custom, it's like 14 feet long. It's not a bench you sit in. It's a bench you put bags of feed on,
Yeah. Well, Vicki, I'm so glad you called. I'm so glad you're listening, and I appreciate your perspective. Could not agree with you more. I haven't been here very long like you have, but I certainly understand the value of those things that make Nashville, Nashville, that make Nashville unique from every other place in the world. It's 54 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Let's talk for a moment about what's going on with the weather, right? I mean, 70 degrees one day, and before you know it, a week or two from now, you'll get back into the 20s. I guarantee you we've got another cold snap coming before spring finally springs forth. Efficient Heating and Cooling can help you in all these needs, and I know it's the middle of February, but it's time for me to start talking to you about your AC. Maybe you've already turned it on this season because it was getting up to 70 degrees or whatever, but you know what I'm going to tell you. That once a year, when you get Jeff Eddy and his team out to maintenance that AC, you could gain years of life in that air conditioning unit. And with that, you're saving money. Plus, they don't charge you an arm and a leg. $125 is their cap. That is the max that you'll be charged for a maintenance call with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Now, oftentimes, it's less than that, but it never is more than that in their service area. Secondarily, if they have to come back to service that unit during the same season, meaning during the spring and summer season, then they'll waive the service call of that visit from Efficient Heating and Cooling. That's called the Maintenance Guarantee with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. Jeff Eddy keeps that overhead down by never charging you overtime, nights or weekends. He also wants to let you know that when the time comes, they're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they can help you find that right unit for you. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net.
4 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast. Traffic updates in 5 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, a security scare. A man was arrested after running toward the U.S. Capitol building with a shotgun. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
U.S. Capitol Police say the 18-year-old suspect got out of a Mercedes SUV with a loaded shotgun and began running toward the west front of the Capitol. Officers ordered the man to drop the gun, and he complied. Chief Michael Sullivan says the suspect was arrested wearing a tactical vest and gloves.
And when we looked in the vehicle, he had a Kevlar helmet and a gas mask in the vehicle.
Congress is not in session this week, and most lawmakers are home in their districts. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Here in Middle Tennessee, multiple reports say ICE has confirmed in an email plans for a new detention facility in Lebanon. Despite county officials saying they were unaware of the purchase, the agency argues the center will benefit Wilson County, citing major economic impacts such as 7,000 jobs, $800 million economic impact. Wilson County leaders say they're still seeking answers from the federal government. By the way, the Wilson County Commission meeting tonight at News 2 says the Wilson County Democratic Party on social media telling people to show up and speak against that facility. And a federal judge has again blocked ICE from re-detaining Salvadoran national Kilmar Abrego Garcia, citing a lack of any viable deportation plan. Garcia's case has drawn national attention after he was mistakenly deported last year, despite a ruling that he faced danger in El Salvador. He was later brought back to the U.S., charged with human smuggling here in Tennessee, charges he has pleaded not guilty to. The government has proposed deporting him to several African countries, but the courts say those efforts are unlikely to succeed. And investigators in Pima County, Arizona, back at square one in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News samples of DNA from a glove did not trigger any matches in a national database. We get more from ABC's Alex Stone.
We now know that investigators have been going, and the FBI, to gun shops around the Tucson area to see if they can get any leads on where the gun that was seen in a holster in the doorbell video, where that gun came from and where that fairly unique holster came from. And also that earlier in February that they were using drones to look for any signal from Bluetooth from her pacemaker, and that they were trying to get a signal from that pacemaker by flying drones, something called Blue Fly.
A recall has been issued for several single-serve peanut butter packets and PB&J cups sold here in Tennessee. Ventura Farm says blue plastic pieces were found in a production filter. The recall affects 3/4-ounce packets and 2-ounce PB&J cups under multiple brand names. Consumers urged to check lot numbers and throw it away. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. West End, we've got a crash. On-ramp partially blocked, 440 westbound from West End. That's exit 1. Right now over by the airport, a crash, Donaldson Pike at Murfreesboro Pike. Franklin, a crash, 65 southbound right there at I-840. And in Murfreesboro, a wreck reported 24 westbound approaching Joe B. Jackson Parkway. Mount Juliet, a wreck. Couchville Pike, just west of I-840. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Radio Show this Tuesday, February 17, starts right now. Glad to have you with us. Well, it's actually started. It started a few minutes ago with Ken Weaver's newscast at the top of the hour. We appreciate that, letting us know what's going on in the world, the traffic reports, the weather reports, et cetera, et cetera. Now we will opine on said same. You know, every time I hear the man talk about the plateau, I think about our In the Ghetto sounder. On the plateau.
On the plateau. It's going to be a little bit of snow tonight.
Grab your loved ones and hold them tight on the plateau. More of that on the way. I also have some real quick before we get to our good friend and guest, Congressman John Rose. So Gavin Newsom apparently is coming to town. And Gavin is like, "Oh, Tennessee's crap," basically is what he said before he came here. Let me tell you what California's number one in. And I want to give California their due. So, Gavin, congratulations. California's number one in a lot of things. California's number one in homelessness, number one in poverty, number one in addiction, number one in gas prices, number one in income tax, number one in gas tax, number one in budget deficit, number one in retail theft, number one in citizen exodus. They were number one in mask mandates during COVID, number one in school closures, COVID-related, number one in funding illegal migration, number one in illiteracy, number one in wage stagnation, number one in lawsuits, number one in worker restriction, and they are the number one state when it comes to anti-business regulation. Congratulations, Gavin. You are number one, buddy. Welcome to Tennessee, where we still believe in a semblance of freedom. We welcome Congressman John Rose to the program to talk to us about a number of issues out of Washington and a few right here in the volunteer state. John, always a pleasure to have you. Good afternoon.
Great to be with you, Matt. Thanks for having me on the program today.
So I thought of you guys. I wasn't quite sure whether or not you were in Washington, D.C. as a sitting congressman, but it's my understanding Congress is out of session this year. I thought about the issue involving the gunman there on the Capitol property, and it made me realize just how grateful we are to the Capitol police officers that not only protect you guys as you try to do the job up there on Capitol Hill, but also protect the general public as they tour the facility and as they walk through the National Mall and whatnot. It's just that's a scary time when you've got gunmen just jumping out of their car, rushing the Capitol, huh?
It is indeed. And, you know, regretfully, these kinds of things happen from time to time. Through the years, it's happened. In fact, we've had guards inside the Capitol, killed a number of years ago. And so it's always unfortunate. And I do have the greatest respect for the men and women who guard the Capitol. And it's an important thing to do. Just regretful that we live in a time when people are constantly trying this kind of nonsense and putting people unnecessarily at risk.
Congressman, is the government shut down in any fashion right now? I keep hearing that the Democrats, pumped the brakes on funding for DHS, but it's my understanding TSA is still open. It's my understanding that ICE is funded through 2028. Are we in a partial shutdown right now?
We are in a partial shutdown, and of course, it's the third the Democratic Party-led Schumer shutdown, since the fall when we had the 43-day shutdown. I think it's particularly troublesome, and it will be, I think, nettlesome and difficult to get past this because it is so narrow, but it does affect FEMA and the Transportation Safety Administration, Coast Guard, Secret Service, and Customs and Border Protection. And like these things go, and as we saw last fall, and then briefly, 10 days ago when we had a similar shutdown for a few days before the House could get back to Washington to pass the stopgap that then lasted only for 2 weeks. It's one of those things where people, the folks perhaps that maybe people interface with most regularly, TSA folks, they'll go without pay at some point. Obviously, here in the early days before they come up on a pay date, little or no effect, but people are being furloughed, and it is delaying things even at this stage. And so it's not a good situation. And it just underscores that the Democrats now have been willing to take us into 3 shutdowns just over the space of 3 or 4 months. And in each case, to protect, violent, criminal, illegal aliens. Last fall it was because they wanted to restore free health care for illegal immigrants that had come into the country. Now they're wanting to stop the deportation of law-breaking criminal, illegal immigrants and that, have done horrendous things. And so it's just unconscionable to me that the Democratic Party is willing to step up for these folks and for these issues and use the American people and our safety as a bargaining chip. If this goes on for any period of time, as it involves FEMA, it would, for example, delay storm relief for places like Tennessee that have suffered in the recent ice storm and similar incidents. So it's not a good situation. If it were to end quickly, the damage might be minimal, but I think we have to just keep in mind that the Democrats yet again are doing this, and this time to protect the worst of the worst, frankly. So it's just very disappointing and just remarkable to me that that's where the Democrat Party has brought itself to. As you point out, ICE is funded, so the group that they're most interested in trying to impact, they cannot impact because we funded ICE for a number of years through the One Big Beautiful Bill last year.
You, I guess it was a little over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, where you and we haven't spoken since then. There was something of I don't know if it was a disagreement or just you had to have a meeting with the minds with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. And I don't trust the mainstream media's reporting on this. I go to the source. I go to Congressman John Rose, and they reported that you were grandstanding and you wanted some sort of bargain. You voted along with Thomas Massie and a bunch of Democrats initially and then changed your vote. I just wanted to ask you what that was all about for you and why you ultimately, after that conversation, made the decision to change the vote.
Well, so, for some time now, I had been advocating and trying to encourage a vote on the Senate side of the SAVE Act, which we passed, over 300 days ago in the House. And unfortunately, Leader Thune over on the Senate side in the Senate have just refused to take it up. Now, I understand the Democrats are not going to help them, but Leader Thune, has not even attempted to bring this forward. And I think he was providing cover for some holdout Republicans as well. And so a number of us were trying to put pressure on Leader Thune, and I'd been messaging about that actively. As you may recall, the day before, there was some indication that Leader Thune had made an agreement to allow the funding bill to move forward, but then early the day we were voting and this all happened, he was quickly backtracking on his commitments. And so I wanted to reiterate and reinforce to Speaker Johnson that we are serious about this, and have there's a constant give and take there and discussion with the speaker, because he has the direct conduit to the leader on the Senate side and can communicate there. And so I wanted to have a conversation with the speaker about this, and sometimes you have to get their attention, and so that's what this was about, and that's really what I was advocating for. As the often happens in those situations, people start looking for ways to satisfy you other than the thing you're asking for, and so
right.
That conversation got broader as it went on, and ultimately, though, I talked with the folks at the White House, and I talked with the speaker, and we came to an understanding about how important this was. I was actually wanting to vote for this because we achieved another objective that I'd had, which was to jam the Senate into repealing the kind of crooked Senate payday provision that they had kind of forced us to swallow back in the fall when we were ending the first government shutdown. And so, I was happy to see that brought to an end and considered it a victory. But I also knew there aren't those many occasions when you have an opportunity to kind of drive the agenda and focus everybody on what's important. And so that day, I had a conversation with Anna Paulina Luna, who had been directly involved in conversations with the White House and with Leader Thune's people and the speaker, and then a conversation with the White House, and then a conversation with the speaker. And the speaker made clear that he was on our side and that he would press this issue. As you know, then last week we passed the Save America Act, which is just an expansion and I guess, further, punctuating how important our elections are. One thing that I hear uniformly, and I was just speaking to the Wilson County Republicans this past weekend, Tennesseans want to see our elections protected, and it is a over 80% issue among Americans. So it is really amazing to me that Democrats in Washington are standing in the way of this when over 70% of Democrats agree that we should only let legal American citizens vote, and we should require photo IDs. So these are, as close to consensus issues as you can get when it comes to the American voting public.
Well, and it's getting the attention of the president, who said that if they can't get something across the finish line, he'll do whatever he can from an executive standpoint. I don't know if an EO passes constitutional muster, but he has indicated that. But I do see some movement on the Senate side, and are you hopeful? I don't know why John Thune is not demanding a talking filibuster at this point, but he's not. I would love us to go back to the 1975 rule where you actually had to stand in the well, and, in order to bust a filibuster, members had to actually be present as opposed to back in their home districts, enjoying, lattes or whatever they're doing, But Senator Hagerty indicated that potentially Susan Collins was on board on the Senate side, and John Thune has indicated at least more openness to moving toward a talking filibuster. Are you hopeful that we'll see the SAVE Act passed before the midterm elections is the question, John?
I am hopeful. I would stop short of saying that I would give it more than 50-50 odds right now, but I'm hopeful, and I think we are moving the Senate leader in our direction. And I agree with you about the filibuster, that it has become too easy for the obstructionists in the Senate to stand in the way of these things. And I don't believe that, I know Leader Thune has expressed, well, it's a lot of time. The amazing thing as we left Washington, and the Senate has gone into recess as well, and, we've passed, I think, 49 bills through the House, and they've passed, I think, now a total of 8. A couple weeks ago, it was 3. So they're, I understand they want to safeguard their time, but it doesn't seem to me that they've got a lot going on. So maybe they've got time to do a standing filibuster at this point.
Congressman, can I beg of you to do a quick commercial timeout and then come back on the other side? Because I want to talk to you about a number of state issues, and I want to have a good amount of time to do that. Do you have the time to do that?
Sure.
Okay.
Happy to. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Congressman John Rose is with us. Obviously, he represents the 6th Congressional District. He's also running for the governorship of the state of Tennessee. And we're going to talk about those matters, to include his criticism of CoreCivic and how he would like to see our prison system change in the state of Tennessee. We'll do that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I mean, they got safes at Safe House, right? I mean, they got a lot of safes at Safe House. They have over 200 in stock in the showroom. They've got another 400 in their warehouse. I mean, they've got the right safe for you. All you've got to do is go find the right one for you. Now, before you go, you can perhaps peruse their online website, NashvilleSafeHouse.com, NashvilleSafeHouse.com. Then go see Mark and the rest of the team. Donald Trump's in there in the lobby, or at least a cutout of Donald Trump's in the lobby. The Matt Murphy special, My Safe, is in the lobby as well. And Jill and the rest of the crew are right there available for you. No one knows where Mark might be from day to day, but if he's there, he will show you around the beautiful showroom, which is in and of itself a huge, huge facility with plenty of safes. Browning and Fort Knox and Superior and Champion and all the brand names you know, all the fire ratings you want, and the price that you're looking for. It's Nashville Safe House on 4th Avenue South, the best in the Southeast. I would put them against anywhere in the world. Nashville Safe House. Go see them today.
Security scare at the nation's capital, and multiple reports say Immigration and Customs Enforcement has confirmed it plans to open a detainment center here in Middle Tennessee. But is it real? Details at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We are joined by 6th Congressional District Representative John Rose. He is on the line with us. He is also a candidate for governor of the state of Tennessee, and I want to turn our attention to some state matters. John, you know how much I appreciate your representation. You know how much I appreciate you being on the show with us so many years. And so I don't bring this up or ask this question with any insincerity, except to ask you, when are we going to see some movement? I mean, I don't. The polls are what the polls are, but everything that I'm seeing demonstrates that Marsha Blackburn has a commanding lead over you. It's 2026. I'm wondering, you know, in race car parlance, I mean, at some point we've got to make a move here. Talk to me about what your moves are and what differentiates you between Marsha and what's going to get you across the finish line later on this year.
Sure. Well, happy to address that. And you know, I don't think probably a racing analogy is the right one here, because that implies that you have to make up this huge distance, whereas in politics you just have to deliver the winning message, and then people can move in mass. And so as we saw in the 2018 election, the electorate can move very quickly and decisively. And so I think that's what that's what we're going to do. I think it's about ultimately informing the people of Tennessee about who I am, and you know, all the considered wisdom that that I've managed to collect, and conferring with experts about this, is that you need to do that at the right time. And so if you do it too early, it dissipates. If you do it too long, it annoys people and they become kind of callous to it. And so you have to kind of pick the right time. That's frustrating because, of course, Senator Blackburn, spent millions, $10-15 million just last year running to get a 6-year term in the United States Senate, a job she apparently never intended to finish. But it did have the effect of vastly improving her name identity across the state. And so that's the comparison that we see.
Mm-hmm.
The people of Tennessee are not yet focused on the governor's race, and that's typical. That's not some sort of problem. That's just the way this works. So we're going to be there with the right message at the right time to educate Tennesseans and inform Tennesseans about who I am and about what my credentials and qualifications are. And those qualifications are that I am the only candidate running for governor of Tennessee who has the CEO experience that the job of governor, of leading this state, really is. I have that experience. My opponents lack it. If you hire someone that doesn't have that experience, then you're going to see on-the-job training, and that's going to be expensive for Tennesseans because of the mistakes that will be made. And I think Tennesseans get that. They've proven time and again that they get that. That's who we've elected in the past. I spent 30 years of my career in the private sector building businesses, signing the front side of a paycheck, building large organizations, learning how to get the right people in the right seat on the bus. I've spent the last 7 years as a legislator in Congress, and that's been a very informative experience, but I can testify directly that experience is not what the job of being governor is. On a typical day as a member of Congress, and that's what my primary opponent has done, is she has been, a career politician, and a career politician now in Washington in the swamp, and she you don't make those kind of management decisions. You manage a small staff of people, but mostly you're deciding whether to vote yes or no on issues, and you don't have to deal with the consequences. The job of governor is very different. So we're going to have the resources. I think that's one of the things that maybe my opponent hasn't counted on or didn't really anticipate. We've been blessed, so we'll have the resources to run the winning election. We've got more resources. We had more resources on June 30th last year than she has now. And so we'll deliver that message in a compelling and informative way so that the people of Tennessee can make an informed decision.
Quickly, John, and I would love an opportunity to speak to you a little more about this at length. You have recently criticized the privatization of our prison system, specifically CoreCivic, and I'm wondering if you don't feel like appropriate criticism should be leveled at the Tennessee Department of Corrections Commissioner Frank Strada. I mean, doesn't he control the system on the whole? I mean, obviously we have privatization in the state of Tennessee, but the buck stops with him, does it not?
Well, I think there's plenty of oversight and scrutiny that needs to go around here. On the campaign trail, I've been listening to Tennesseans all across the state. I'm in the far west, northwest corner of Tennessee today in Tipton County, where there is the Northwest Correctional Facility here, talking about these same issues. So you're right, Matt, that this is a bigger issue than just CoreCivic. But we are contracting with CoreCivic, and we ought to demand and expect that they will produce the results that we're paying to get. And, of course, it goes beyond that because there are, yes, Tennesseans who are being, who are paying a price for the mistakes that they've made. But when you take that kind of custody of someone, as a state, we have an obligation to make sure that, that we're not putting them in an untenable situation. And unfortunately, too often, that's what we see that has happened. And so it's seeing lives lost that perhaps could have been saved and, just intolerable conditions at some of these prisons, state and CoreCivic operated prisons alike. And so I just, was calling attention to that to make sure that people understand the people who are calling on me to address that issue, that I understand and I hear what they're saying. And,
I heard you say, and just a real quick follow. I heard you say, people have been talking about this situation for years. When I'm governor, I'm going to do something about it. So the question is, what are you going to do about it as governor?
Yeah, I think, there are more facts to be gathered, but I'm going to make sure that we safeguard the lives of those people who are incarcerated and we don't put them in intolerable positions. And we're going to demand that not only the state system delivers that, but also any for-profit private operators deliver on their commitments there as well. I want to applaud the legislature, by the way, because they took some steps last year to hold CoreCivic to account, and we just have to make sure that we follow through on those obligations and make sure that happens.
John, it's the beginning of an important conversation that we need to have in the state of Tennessee regarding our prison systems. I'm glad that we can open up that door, and I look forward to further conversations on it, and obviously look forward to conversations with you throughout 2026 as our congressman and as a candidate for governor. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Matt. It's a great honor and privilege to represent the people of Tennessee and look forward to those continuing conversations as we get the chance to make our case to the people of Tennessee.
That's Congressman John Rose joining us on the Matt Murphy Hotline for a few good moments. We've got 33 after the hour. My apologies to Ken for running a little bit late. Wanted to get that discussion point out about CoreCivic and the Tennessee Department of Corrections, and we did so. Your call's coming up next on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Security scare at the nation's capital today. Police say an 18-year-old armed with a loaded shotgun jumped out of a white Mercedes SUV, sprinted toward the Capitol building. Officers challenged him. He surrendered without any shots fired. Officials report he wore a tactical vest, carried additional ammunition. The motive remains unclear. Congress was not in session at the time. Here in Tennessee, multiple reports say ICE, Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, has confirmed through an email it plans to open a detainment center in Lebanon. News 2's Tori Gessner says local leaders say they had no idea about the plans for Wilson County.
In Lebanon, a federal plan appears to be taking shape, with local and state leaders in the dark, some denying it's happening altogether.
It looks like somebody's gotten some misinformation, and they're spreading this information here locally. There is no ICE facility coming to Lebanon, Tennessee that we can find.
But But we've been told differently. A spokesperson for ICE confirming in an email the agency bought a facility to house detainees in Lebanon, Tennessee.
And I'm not going to do a confirmation just on one email. And we've been through this enough that there's sometimes things are misled or it is not actually a fact.
While leaders here are still questioning whether the plans are real, similar situations are already playing out in towns and cities across the country.
Yeah, News 2 says similar situations in Virginia, Georgia, and Oklahoma. As for here in Tennessee, it's unclear which facility ICE purchased or the location. And a federal judge has ruled that immigration authorities cannot redetain Kilmar Abrego Garcia after his 90-day detention window expired. Garcia was mistakenly deported to El Salvador last year despite a court order saying he faced danger there. He was later returned to the U.S., where he now faces human smuggling charges here in Tennessee, which he denies. The judge says the government has no realistic plan for deportation, blocking any new attempt to take him into custody. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Antioch got a crash Bell Road at Cane Ridge Road. Over on the west end, the on-ramp partially blocked by a crash 440 westbound from West End. In Franklin, we've got a crash 65 southbound at 840. And in Bellevue, a stalled vehicle on the right shoulder, 40 eastbound past Old Hickory Boulevard. Murfreesboro, a crash 24 westbound approaching Joe B. Jackson Parkway. Mount Juliet, a crash. Couchville Pike west of I-840. I'm Ken Weaver.
When guys get to a certain age, oftentimes for about half the men in the listening audience, they experience some form of, well, inability, let's put it that way, in the bedroom primarily. If you have experienced this, there's no shame in this game, man. It happens to so many men at a certain age, but it's not 1976, it's 2026. And you can get back in the game. There is a life after middle age when it comes to sexual activity and romantic relationships. And it starts with the Tennessee Men's Clinic. Don't trust these online shops. Don't trust these pills that you get an order online and you have no idea where they're coming from or what's in them. Trust a qualified urologist at Tennessee Men's Clinic. They will, you schedule an appointment. You step into one of their great facilities. They have one in Nashville, one in Cool Springs, another in Clarksville. They've got Middle Tennessee covered. Murfreesboro's down the road, by the way. It's coming. By the way, all you have to do is step in for $99, and they'll give you a comprehensive and complete examination, take a little blood work, see what's going on in your body, see how they can tailor a specific plan of action for you, for your family, to get you back in the game. Men, let's do this. It's professional, it's discreet, and it works. The Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or call 615-208-9090, 208-9090. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. So we just finished up an interview with Congressman John Rose of the 6th District. John is also running for governor. I like John. John did not like my analogy of a NASCAR race. He said that wasn't the way to look at it with regard to his run for governor. At some point, you have to make a move, though. And right now, look, y'all know how I am with polling. Polling is only as good as the organization that's organizing the polling. Polling, secondarily, is a snapshot in time. Thirdly, sadly, many of these news organizations, they don't do polling for the right reasons anymore. They do. What happened? What did I just do? Every bit of my information that's on my computer screens just went away. I think I told it to restart. Did I just screw this up? Really? Yes, I want to restore the page. Hold on. Stand by, everyone. Everyone, cross your fingers. Okay, they're restored. Woo!
That's way to go, Brother Murphy.
Oh, my goodness.
Technology.
All of my show prep would have been poop out of the window. So, oddly, I'm going to be defensive of the polling that I'm seeing regarding the governor's race. So it's not like me to look at polls and wag my finger at candidates who say, no, that's not the real deal. But everything I've seen, regardless of what you think about her, regardless of what you think about the race, John might be right that it's way too early to be thinking about this, but people that have thought about it are picking Marcia, and it's not close. And when I say it's not close by a margin of like 45 points. It's like Marsha Blackburn's 68% and John Rose 20 or whatever it is. So I just want to know when the fire's coming, and I'm just curious. He says, wait, you'll see. I'm not so sure. I'll trust him because I like him. I'm not calling this thing over. I'm just saying, if you expect that people are going to move from Marsha Blackburn to you, then that name ID that you recognize as a problem, you better start repairing that issue right now with all this money that you claim to have going up on radio and television and social media platforms and all that. Number two, and this for me, that's one thing. And John's in it to win it. That's what he claims. And I believe him. More concerning to me, John Rose came out 3 days ago, and I guess a week ago, and maybe 10 days ago, and he had strong language about our prison system in this state. And he said, I'm not quite, I don't have the quote in front of me anymore, but I'm pretty close to exactly what he said. He said, governors for the last however many years have been talking about this issue. When I'm governor, I'm going to do something about it. And so I asked him, John, what are you going to do about it? And his answer was, well, we need to study it more. Okay. Well, what then? I've long said that I understand that Core Civic as an organization is not a perfect one. I understand that they've had problems in the past, and they are attempting to make strides to repair some of those problems, but they're also a convenient whipping boy. Did you know, for an example, just an example, who makes the decision? Let me ask Jackson this question. If I can get a correct answer out of Jackson, I know I'm getting down to where the goats can graze on it. Who decides where prisoners go in our state system? In other words, prisoners have to go to certain prisons. It either has to be to a Core Civic prison or to a state prison. Who decides who goes to what prison?
The judicial branch.
The state decides. The Tennessee Department of Corrections assigns where these individuals go. Would it surprise you if I told you that by far the most violent criminals that get processed in the Tennessee judicial system go to core civic prisons and not to state-run facilities? Would that surprise you at all? Why do you think that is?
Money?
Because if that results in poorer prison conditions in the core civic facilities, then the Tennessee Department of Correction has a convenient scapegoat when the time comes. Just a thought. I'm not saying that core civic is perfect. I'm not saying that they're doing everything right. I'm just suggesting that one of these things is not like the other, and trying to compare the two and suggest that it's all a core civic problem and it's not the problem of Frank Strata and the Tennessee Department of Corrections is erroneous. Just not true. Now, we mentioned that Freddie O'Connell has a problem with some of his business owners saying that the property tax increases are strangling them. The other big issue in the city of Nashville has been the lack of performance from the Nashville Electric Service. Last month, we had it wasn't an unprecedented ice storm, as Teresa Broyles-Applin wanted to claim, but it was certainly an ice storm that doesn't come around very often in the state of Tennessee. Our good friend Justin Owen of the Beacon Center has nailed this in a recent op-ed that he wrote concerning what happened and the aftermath of what happened. As a matter of fact, he just came out with this earlier today, and we often have Justin on, and we'll have him on again regarding this issue. But I wanted to share some of what he has written and give him the credit for it with regard to exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about the money, right? Because I've been saying that you can't have it both ways, and it seems that NES thinks that they can. You can't tell me for the last 3 years or 4 years that your focus has been on canopy and canopy protection, and that you shrunk the money that was going into vegetation mitigation over the course of that amount of time per your own analysis and audits. And at the same time, you did not pre-stage the proper number of linemen and others necessary to deal with what might be the aftermath of not taking care of the canopy. But the bottom line is this. Instead of speaking directly to the people, instead of hiring a communications firm in the aftermath of the disastrous response that you had to the ice storm, you hired a bunch of lobbyists to go lobby the General Assembly. So as Justin Owen writes, so you can afford the lobbyist for the General Assembly, but you can't afford trimming the trees? Once the storm arrived, Owen writes, the NES failures snowballed. Reports suggest the utility was woefully understaffed with linemen. Neighboring Middle Tennessee Electric prepped 50% more of linemen than NES, despite serving significantly fewer customers and facing far fewer power outages. Even with the linemen it did staff, NES was reportedly unable to integrate them into its logistics, leaving many of them sitting idly by while customer outages extended into a second week. This was not only a logistical failure by NES, despite spending $250 million on a text alert system designed to notify customers of power outages and power restoration. They scrapped that altogether because customers reported repeated erroneous updates and information based on that system that they spent $250 million on. He then goes on to say, given NES's rapid-fire failures, it's no surprise that city and state leaders are calling for change in how the utility operates. Those calls range from the firing of CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin to the reconfiguration of the NES Board of Directors. And how has NES responded to the crisis? They've hired a bunch of lobbyists, which is the ultimate icing on the insult cake. They've hired lobbyists. Not to make it better with you, not to go door to door and apologize to you, to go to the General Assembly and to make sure that they don't continue their effort to take over the operation of the Board of Directors, at least to get better results to the ratepayers in the future. 615-737-9986 is 52 after the hour on Super Talk.
Well, multiple reports say Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, has confirmed it plans to open a detainment center here in Middle Tennessee, but local leaders say they've heard nothing about it. Details at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Show. Look who's here. Dave. Hey, Dave.
That's Brother Dave.
Hey, Dave. Can you hear me? There's cookie cake in the break room.
Somebody eat it. Eat that cookie cake.
Have you had any, Ken?
No, sir. I'm not going to.
Ken, Jackson and I had a little. It's as good as advertised.
Stop it.
It's a Mardi Gras cookie cake, Ken.
I know.
It's got that Mardi Gras icing on the top.
Hey.
It's absolutely delicious.
Do the cookie cakes have those little babies in them?
Well, it's a great question, Ken. I've not come upon one, but I only had a small sliver, just a little bitty slice. Jackson, did you get any baby in your cookie cake?
Did not.
Are you aware of the king cake baby thing?
Don't you have to buy the cake next year?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is.
Is that the rule?
Yeah.
If you get the baby?
I think so. I mean, that's what Jackson's saying, Ken. If you get the baby, you got to... I always thought you were going to have a baby. Well, that's how that went.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't want to get that baby.
Just get on in there and get some of that cake, though. That cookie cake's good, Ken. And it says no calories. Calorie-free.
What?
That's what it said.
Really?
I think. I have it on good authority.
Well, I'll go investigate it after this newscast.
Misery loves company, Ken. Get on in there. Get some of that. All right, 615-737-9986. Did I or did I not see that Mike in Old Hickory had called us?
He had.
And?
He was calling the sports station, hit the wrong number.
Is he boycotting us?
No.
So he's
He's cheating on us.
So when are they going to suspend him?
We banned him. We banned him for
by the Titans logo.
We banned him for 3 or 4 weeks, and now he has an opportunity to come on the show and air his grievances, and now he doesn't want to. The man that called us every day for the better part of 3 months, huh? Isn't that something?
He's giving us the what for?
He is, Ken. Jesse Jackson has passed away. I try not to say anything negative toward the dead. So that's all I'll say about that. It is 5 o'clock on Super Talk.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. And here in Tennessee, multiple reports say ICE, Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement, has confirmed it plans to open a detainment center in Lebanon. News 2's Tori Gessner says local leaders say they've not heard about any plans for Wilson County. Similar situations have played out in other states.
In Hanover County, Virginia, officials say they found out about the federal government's plans already underway to buy an ICE detention facility there through a letter from the Department of Homeland Security.
The lack of early communication from the federal government has created understandable concern as well as a substantial amount of confusion and misunderstanding.
Town officials in Social Circle, Georgia, said they found out about a detention center in their town through media reports. The town's social media page said they then scheduled a meeting with ICE, but claim the deputy chief of staff never showed up. And in Durant, Oklahoma, the mayor says a group connected to the federal government reached out to the county sheriff about buying an old Big Lots warehouse inside city limits.
Yeah, that mayor in Oklahoma says no one from ICE ever responded or showed up there. As for here in Tennessee, it's unclear which facility ICE purchased or the location, but now you've got Channel 4 just now reporting that they've confirmed that ICE says it has not purchased a facility in Lebanon. So we'll see. A federal judge, by the way, has ruled that ICE cannot re-detain Kilmar Abrego Garcia because his 90-day detention window expired and the government has no viable plan to deport him. He still faces federal human smuggling charges in Tennessee, where he has pleaded not guilty. And investigators in Pima County, Arizona, back at square one in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News samples of DNA from a glove did not trigger any matches in a national database. We get more from ABC's Alex Stone.
We now know that investigators have been going in the FBI to gun shops around the Tucson area to see if they can get any leads on where the gun that was seen in a holster in the doorbell video, where that gun came from and where that fairly unique holster came from. And also that earlier in February that they were using drones to look for any signal from Bluetooth from her pacemaker, and that they were trying to get a signal from that pacemaker by flying drones, something called Blue Fly.
A man whose name has been synonymous with the civil rights movement since the dawn of the civil rights movement has died in his hometown. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Jesse Jackson was with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis on April 4th, 1968, when a gunshot rang out.
I asked him, I said, Dr. King, do you hear me? And he didn't say anything.
In 2015, I interviewed Jackson on the steps of the South Carolina Capitol as lawmakers considered removing the Confederate flag from the State House grounds.
We have high hopes the flag will come down. The flag is a symbol. I'm concerned that the agenda comes down.
The flag eventually did come down. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Franklin got a crash. 65 southbound past Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek Bypass exit 61. Apparently, drivers are going the wrong way on the on-ramp from Goose Creek to avoid traffic. So authorities are saying don't do that. Be aware just in case you're in that area. Clarksville, we've got a stalled vehicle on the right shoulder, 24 eastbound before ML King Parkway. And in Brentwood, a crash, 65 southbound at Concord Road. Nolensville Pike, just south of Old Hickory Boulevard, and Smith Springs Road, east of Bell Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've been accused of lying about something, and I'm not so sure what it is. 9009 says, he's lying, Ken. Was he talking about me? Well, y'all tell me what I'm lying about. Jackson is correct about the baby and the king cake, by the way, 4363. Jackson, congratulations. You've been right about something today. They say that, yes, if you get the baby and the king cake. Oh, here we go. Oh, no.
Jackson was right.
That's Murphy was right. That's the Murphy was right theme song. This said the Jackson was right theme song.
I'm taking it. Jackson was right.
And somebody else said that I'm engaging in fake news, and I don't know what I'm engaging in fake news about. Maybe they're referring to. I know what they're referring to now. By the way, it's the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll explain all. It's 8 minutes after 5 o'clock. Glad to have you with us. Thank you for being around. Lots going on. Now, what the super texters are referring to, saying he's lying, Ken, was not about me. It was about Ken Weaver's newscast. And some folks are telling tales out of school with regard to this Middle Tennessee detention facility, and nobody really knows who's telling the truth, and everybody's got an opinion on it. ICE leaders have walked back their statements, apparently, about buying warehouses in Lebanon, Tennessee. A spokesperson is now saying that that was a mistake. This is according to WSMV. And as of a few minutes ago, according to Steve Melling of WSMV, there are no further efforts to promote or open detention facilities in our Middle Tennessee region. Now,
Channel 4 says that ICE told them the statement they sent this morning about the purchase of a site in Wilson County was sent erroneously.
Erroneously. Okay. Well, there you go. So
I guess it's not happening?
So it's not happening. Well, I was kind of hoping it would, because I like chaos. I'm a chaos man, Ken.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that begs the question, and I know that I'm asking it probably prematurely, but I'm certain that many people in their automobiles, as you're driving home from what is, for some of you, your first day of the week, you're wondering, well, how in the heck did that happen? How do you send out something like that erroneously? Did you mean Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and not Lebanon, Tennessee, or what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just weird. But I promise we'll get to the bottom of it. Oh, I know. I just figured something out, Ken. The person that said he's lying, Ken, they were talking about the no calories in the cookie cake.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, have you had any of that cookie cake?
I'm not going to have it. I'm not going to do it.
All right. Well, good for you, because I was lying. There are calories in the cookie cake. A lot of them.
I was getting ready to say.
Nothing tastes that good without having a healthy amount of calories in it.
Right. It's got to be fattening.
Oh, my
It's got to be bad for you.
It looks so... Oh, it tastes great, though. My goodness gracious, tastes great. All right, so more of your calls coming up in just a moment. I do want to remind you, we are a week out from our Steak of the Union event in Smyrna at Legend Steakhouse, and we want to see you. Friends, y'all come on out and break bread with us. We'd love to see you. Ken will be there. Matt Murphy will be there. It's my understanding they're even allowing Jackson to come out and about.
I'm going to wear a polo shirt.
Yes, you need to dress nicely, Jackson. Maybe brush that hair a little bit. Maybe wear some long pants. Just a thought. You got a week to consider it. One way or the other, it is a mere $100, and for that money, you get a full meal. You will absolutely love it. And I'm here to tell you that I want you to be there so much that the next 10 people, I'm going to say the next 10, because here's the thing. You get an 8-ounce sirloin cooked to your specification. You get a couple of sides. You get the salad bar. You get strawberry cake. And then I get to the point, and gratuities included. This is for your $100 ticket. Gratuities included. Everything's included. Taxes included. And then we get to the bottom line, and it says, also, a non-alcoholic beverage of your choosing is included. And I thought, well, what the heck good is that? I mean, if you want a good cold beer, the next 10 people that sign up for tickets to this event, Matt Murphy, yours truly, this guy is going to buy you an icy cold frothy brew or a beverage of your choosing, whatever that might be, above and beyond what's already covered with the ticket price, all you've got to do is come up to me and say, I was one of the 10, Matt Murphy, and I heard you on that day, Tuesday, February the 17th, say what you said, and you owe me a beer. You've just got to go and buy a ticket, and Matt will buy you a beer. Now, you can do whatever you want with that beer. You can give it to a friend of yours. You can buy a different type of beverage if you want. You can give it to Jackson. Don't give him too many. You can pour it over Chad's head. Whatever you want to do with it, you can do with it. It is yours to do with what you will. Just go to 997WTN.com and sign up. And by the way, that arrangement's just between us. You just come up to me and give me the old winky wink. That has nothing to do with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That's just us talking.
Is that legal?
No, I don't think. No, it's legal for me to buy a grown person a beer. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
No.
I mean, we're
A lot of dumb laws.
We're all friends. I mean, folks can. I'll tell you what. I will not buy you a beer. That's a good point, Jackson. I will offer you a beer credit at the bar, which is different.
That you will pay for.
Yes, you will have a credit available to you at the bar to buy a beverage of your choosing in the general bar area, and I'll take care of that later on. How about that? 4460 said, I just signed up. I want my bottle of wine. Nobody said anything about a bottle of wine. You can have a glass of wine. 9009 says it's not legally binding. Mike from Old Hickory's buying one of those tickets. Okay, come on, Mike. I'd love to see Mike. Mike and I would be best of buds out at an event like this. Hey, it's Robert's turn at 15 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, Robert.
Hey, how we doing today?
I'm great, Robert. Hope you are.
Good. Listen, I'm Robert with Anderson Marine. I wanted to invite you out to sit in one of our boats and do your show.
Hey, what about it, Jackson? Look at that. All right. We've been begging for a boat to do a show in.
You got it, sir.
All right, Robert, here's what I have to ask you to do, though, because I'm dead serious. We've got to put you on hold, and then let's get Robert's info, because what we got to do is hook you up with our promotions team. And because I want to do a show from a boat.
I can do my news from the boat and fish at the same time.
Robert, would that be permissible with you if Ken Weaver did his news from the boat and fished at the same time?
Sure would be.
Hey, Robert says it's all good, Ken.
Son of a biscuit eater.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Robert, tell me a little bit about your shop.
We're Anderson Marine. We've been in business now for over 60-something years.
Okay.
We sell lots of fun. That's what we do. We sell fun, fishing and fun.
Well, man, if I don't see you beforehand, I'm absolutely going to see you at the boat show, and hopefully it will be as you present to me the boat that I'll be doing my show from. So I'm going to put you on a brief hold, Robert, and Jackson's going to talk to you and put you in the right direction. Just get his information, Jackson, and we'll get him in the right direction. Get him to Rich and the team. Would absolutely love to do a show from a boat. I've done it once before. Not actually on the water, and we won't be on the water this time around either. Yeah, I mean, I know.
Well, I can't fish.
Well, you sure can. I'll find you a bucket with some fish in it. I mean, like catching fish in a barrel. That's what you'll be doing, Weaver. Have you ever been to one of these boat shows?
Yeah.
They have some of them. They set up like water tanks. And they have,
they got big old fish in them.
They got big old fish in those things. So I don't know what's going on out there. I've never been to one in Nashville, but I went to plenty of them in Birmingham, Alabama, and they are a big to-do. So
wouldn't that be something, though, dude, if we could do our radio show while fishing at the same time?
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I don't like to fish, Ken. Do you like to fish?
Oh,
you like to fish?
I absolutely love it.
I like to drink on a boat.
Well, I'll do that, too.
Yeah, I feel like
Not while I'm doing the news, though.
Nah, that's true. For me, fishing and drinking on a boat is much the same thing. I accomplish the same thing. I've never had the patience to be a good fisherman.
Oh, man.
You know what I did like doing when I was a kid, though? I had a stepfather for a brief period of time, and Lane was kind of messed up in the head, but there were a few moments and memories that I look back on fondly. One of them was Lane was a bass fisherman and had won a lot of trophies fishing in the Southeast. And he had one of those pretty awesome bass boats.
Yeah.
And, he wouldn't let us touch his fancy reels, rod and reels, with the open line.
Yeah.
And they were all fancy. We couldn't touch those. But he would take my brother and I carp fishing.
Yeah.
And we would fish for bottom feeders, and he would put, a lot of weight on the line to get it to the bottom, and he would put corn on big hooks, like whole kernel corn.
Yeah.
On the hook. And those fish absolutely loved it. And man, oh man, you have not lived until you fought one of those carp.
You get big old carp.
I mean, that's a fight, boy. Now, we never ate them because they're so bony.
Yeah, they're real bony.
But we would take them by, he didn't waste them either. We would go by the bait and tackle shop at Clarks Hill Lake after we caught us 5 or 6 or 8 of those big old carp.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always somebody that's willing to eat them. Somebody, somebody.
Yeah, whenever I lived in East Texas, I learned that people will eat anything. I mean, you could walk. I remember it as a little kid, right around the time I killed that woodpecker.
Mm-hmm.
Mom would take us out grocery shopping in the summer. I mean, there'd be pig brains, cow brains, pig this, cow that, right there in the meat section. Tongue.
No,
cow
tongue.
I
remember all that too.
But I've never eaten a carp. I don't think I ever would eat a carp.
No, not now.
Now, I eat catfish. They're bottom feeders.
Yeah, I've eaten catfish.
But, you can put them in fresh water for a couple of days, and they'll filter right out.
I'm not that big of a fan of catfish, quite honestly. I don't know if it's a byproduct of them being bottom feeders or not. It's just the flavor I don't really care for.
I like catching them. They'll
They're
fight
fun.
you.
They're fun. The Lane, my stepfather, he would go fishing for channel cat, and he's caught them like 80 pounds.
Yeah. There's some people out there that have caught some really big catfish.
Would you ever go noodling, Ken? You know what noodling is?
It would depend on where I'm noodling at. I've got a couple of cousins. They used to do it there in Oklahoma. They'd go in some real snaky and
some
like beaver infested areas, and I mean they'd get some. You don't want to get a hold of a beaver.
No,
they'll hurt you.
So beaver hang out in the same type of locations as people like to go noodling. I didn't know this.
They did there in Creek County, Oklahoma, from what I understand. But they would get big old fish, and the town I grew up in for a while, Pauls Valley, Oklahoma. They had they're the home of the Okie Noodling contest every year, where a bunch of people from all over the country come and they go around Oklahoma in the rivers and creeks, and you got a certain amount of time to noodle your catfish, bring them back for measurement, and they would crown a winner. And I mean, there's some big old catfish they'd bring back.
Most everything I know about noodling, I learned from Instagram or TikTok, because there's a cadre of hot chicks that noodle.
Yeah, I've seen some of those.
You know what I'm saying? And they're the ones that get up to the top of your feed because they get the most likes and the most views and all of that. I'm not promoting it. I'm just suggesting.
Right.
That just about everything I know about noodling, it comes from hot chicks in lakes that are noodling. Jackson, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
No, I was getting that guy's information, and y'all were talking about noodling, and I don't know what noodling is. Is it pool noodles? Or is it cooking some various sort of cheap noodle broth?
So,
is it something unsavory, or is it very savory if it's the noodles?
I'm trying to answer your question, Jackson. I'm trying to figure out the best way to answer this. So, you go out to the lake, and what people do, catfish hide, or they rest. I might be saying this incorrectly.
They get up underneath stuff.
They get up underneath stuff. They like to get up under boat docks. They like to get up under the banks.
Rocks.
And up under rocks. And they just hang out there with their mouths open and basically just wait for something to come along to bite it. And what people do is that they find these places where these catfish like to, I'll just say, nest.
Oh, they're mating?
And they're not mating.
Hey, they could be.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, these folks go down underneath the water, and in many cases, they completely submerge themselves underwater.
It's very dangerous.
It is.
You're not supposed to go by yourself.
And you go under there and you stick your hand underneath where these catfish are. And you know what those catfish do there, Jackson?
They noodle.
They bite your hand. And when they bite, these catfish bite the people on the hand. I'm not, Jackson, I see the way you're looking at me. I'm not making this up. When the catfish bites their hand, those people grab on to the catfish and drag that big sucker out of there and bring them up to the bank.
And then they make noodles out of them?
You could.
I suppose.
Make a nice ramen dish.
You know what, Jackson? You bring up a good point. I have no. Do you know why they call it noodling? I have no idea.
I don't know.
3336 says men call it grabbling, not noodling. So you two were.
I've only heard it called noodling.
I've only been told it was noodling, and noodling is not gender specific. At least as far as I know.
Well, it's kind of like the human arm is a noodle for the catfish.
Right. It's the bait.
Yeah.
You're like your fingers are out there at the end.
Does it hurt?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. They'd say that, when the catfish bites down on you, they don't have like teeth per se, but they're.
Well, they do.
Well, I guess they're just.
Yeah, they got teeth and
like,
the bite hurts.
It's like sandpaper, like really, really sharp sandpaper grabbing onto your arm.
Yeah, you want to do it with a long sleeve shirt on.
I'd punch that sucker. Bite me.
Look, now I've got people telling me who the hot noodlers are. Don't tell me who the hot noodlers are. I don't need to know that.
There's one down there in Alabama. I think she may be one of the most popular. I can't remember her name.
I think that's Hannah.
Is this a sport?
She gets some big old fish.
What do you watch on TV? Both of you.
No. This is what people do when they're not on their damn phone, Jackson. This is real life.
This is natural selection begging to happen.
Hannah Barron is. Yeah, she's the one from Alabama, Ken. Hannah Barron. She is an outdoor adventurer and catfish noodler. Yeah. She was born and raised in southern Alabama, has gained global popularity for her fearless fishing methods and passion for the outdoors. There you go.
Yeah, she gets some big old fish.
Well, I don't think we'll be noodling at the boat show coming up March 5th.
Yeah, no, we won't be noodling there.
But we can fish. I'm telling you, I'll figure out a way that we can fish, Ken. 25 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Friends, Keith, Stephanie, and the rest of the crew at Contours want to see you. So the New Year's dieting has not worked out as you had hoped. Maybe you're eating right. Maybe you're doing everything that you did several years ago when you lost a few pounds, and you're just not losing the weight that you wanted to lose. Well, friends, despair not, because at Contours, they understand it. They understand as we get older, it gets more difficult to lose the pounds. You can eat right, you can exercise, but the reality is sometimes we need a little help, a little kick in the rump. And my friends at Contours in Cool Springs are here to help you, both you guys and you ladies in the audience. They have their Ultra Slim Body Contouring, which guarantees you lose 2 inches on that first visit, that Belly Buster $99 special, or that special's free. Over 2 inches around your midsection. And I know it works because I went in and first visit, I lost 2.67 inches around my midsection. Thank you very much to Contours LLC. Give them a call and ask them how it works because it's pretty fascinating. The red light therapy technology is it's insane. It is non-invasive. It does not hurt, and the results are instantaneous. Give them a call at 615-236-9960. That's 615-236-9960 or online at contoursllc.com. I mean, after all, what do you have to lose but inches?
5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Well, Channel 4 now says a spokesperson for Immigration and Customs Enforcement says that a statement sent this morning confirming the purchase of a facility in Lebanon to be used as a detention center was erroneous. Channel 4's Hunter Hoagland explains.
Yesterday, as y'all mentioned, an ICE spokesperson would not give us any information about a facility, citing a campaign of violence against ICE agents. But today, a different spokesperson confirmed the detention center in Lebanon. Now, just in the last few minutes, ICE Office of Public Affairs told us they, in fact, do not have a facility in Wilson County, nor have they bought one. So this morning on radio station WANT 98.9, Wilson County Mayor Randall Hutto said he got a call about the facility on Friday. There was some confusion about it possibly being in Lebanon County, Pennsylvania. He said, though, no one in the mayor's office could find out anything about it. He also reached out to Governor Lee, Senators Blackburn and Hagerty. They also told him they don't know anything either.
So apparently there is no ICE detention center coming to Wilson County. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's case returned to the spotlight after authorities mistakenly deported him to El Salvador despite a court order protecting him from removal. His next legal challenge is here in Tennessee, where he's fighting human smuggling charges that his attorneys argue amount to selective prosecution. And investigators in Pima County, Arizona, back at square one in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News samples of DNA from a glove didn't trigger any matches in a national database. We get more from ABC's Alex Stone.
They did not get a hit on that glove. Now, this glove, you remember, it was unlikely it was involved in the crime anyway. It was 2 miles away from here. They have found a number of black gloves. In fact, our team even found a black glove yesterday while we were out in the desert area that apparently searchers have taken them off. There are homeless that might have them on and take them off when they're around. So this is hitting a wall now in that.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Franklin, we've got a crash. 65 southbound past Batonsville Road, Goose Creek bypass, and apparently drivers are going the wrong way on the on-ramp to try to avoid it. And authorities are aware, the highway patrol there on the scene, and they are not going to tolerate drivers going the wrong way to avoid that crash. Brentwood, an accident. 65 southbound at Concord Road. And in Laverne, got an accident reported now. 24 westbound at Waldron Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Cover Nash is simply the go-to company, the go-to spot for all questions regarding your health insurance. And I understand it can be very confusing. For example, Shane gets this question all the time. Shane, I missed my opportunity, so I guess there's no chance for me to change my insurance that I hate, or there's no chance for me to pick up insurance because I don't have any because it's not open enrollment season. This is one of the tricks, and understand there are some parameters that exist here, but this is one of the tricks that's utilized by some of the big boys to convince you that you have less power than you do. You do have the power to make changes. You can get better insurance. Shane Ring will help you do that, and all it takes is a telephone call and a visit with Shane and his team in Brentwood. They'll sit down with you in person or they'll visit with you over the telephone, and they will make sense of the complex with the health insurance that you currently have and help you understand how you can get better insurance with CoverDash. All you need to do is go to CoverDash.com. That's CoverDash.com, or give a call, 615-465-0023. 465-0023 for our friends at CoverDash. Real health coverage on your terms, not the government's. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Enough of noodling. We'll get on to the nincompoopery coming up in just moments. 39 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Earlier today, we were discussing some of the business owners' reaction now that the property tax increases are coming due in the city of Nashville. One of them being the Acme Feed and Seed ownership. That gentleman, I'm hopeful that we can have Mr. Morales on the show very soon. We've reached out to him, and we will await his response. I have a response from Senator Mark Pody, who was on with Nashville's Morning News this morning, Dan Mandis. It's been a confusing 12 hours. There was a report that there was an Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility coming to Lebanon, Tennessee. And that report was apparently confirmed by an ICE official. The latest that we have received, and I've just gotten this from the Public Affairs Department of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And obviously, you've heard Ken Weaver report on this moments ago. You'll hear it again, I'm certain, but this should clean all of this up. And this is from Senator Mark Pody. He forwarded this to me. I think I can say that. Good afternoon. Please see our correction to an earlier email attribute to an ICE spokesman. Quote, ICE has not purchased a facility in Lebanon, Tennessee. That statement was sent without prior approval. This mistake has since been rectified. Regardless, Every day, Department of Homeland Security is conducting law enforcement activities across the country to keep Americans safe. It should not come as news that ICE will be making arrests in states across the U.S. and is actively working to expand detention space. ICE is targeting criminal illegal aliens, including murderers, rapists, criminals, gang members, and more. 70% of ICE arrests are illegal aliens charged or convicted of a crime in the United States. Thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill, ICE has new funding to expand detention space to keep these criminals off American streets before they are removed for good from our communities. That from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Office of Public Affairs. So there was a mistake. There is no facility, at least in the foreseeable future, coming to Lebanon, Tennessee. One can understand why there was great confusion. I was one of those confused. I reached out to the governor's office. I reached out to Senator Pody. I reached out to others. And I'm asking, what the heck's going on? Why doesn't anyone seem to know about this? Well, no one knew about it because it wasn't actually happening. 615-737-9986. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to find some nincompoops.
Nincompoops in the news.
By now, you've heard Weaver's newscast. You've heard me opine on the real news. It's time to look across the state of Tennessee, the volunteer state, nay, all across these United States of America. Heck, we'll go around the globe to find the nincompoops where they live and breathe. We call it Nincompoops in the News. We do it daily at this time, and we appreciate you being here. Jackson Williams, Matt Murphy, and Ken Weaver.
I'm getting y'all today.
Jackson, you and I had the benefit of Weaver being DQ'd yesterday.
Yeah.
And I won.
That is incorrect, Jackson. That is
We tied.
That is also incorrect. Have you seen?
Lost.
Do you have your super text line pulled up?
I do not.
You know that people are sending you photos of Hannah Barron. And I say that because I know that it will split your attention.
That'll get Brother Jackson's attention.
Yeah, that will divide your attention away from Nincompoops in the News, giving me an opportunity to win.
Really quickly, did y'all attempt to find the lowest resolution pictures of her on the internet? Was that an attempt from y'all? Because this one was taken on a potato.
On a potato?
Yeah, somebody attached a camera lens to a potato and took the picture that I just opened.
Well, Jackson, I think a quick Google search with 2 words in it, Hannah Barron, would help you out there, buddy. I mean, these folks are just trying to help you. I think this is the definition of looking a gift horse in the mouth, Jackson. You didn't have to get any pictures. Now you're criticizing the ones you got. That's like criticizing that cookie cake that you've had 4 slices of now.
I've not had 4. I've had 2.
Well, if you've had 2 slices, the last slice was robust. All right, it's time for Nincompoops in the News. I won yesterday, and so I get to pick the batting order. I'm going to go. Jackson 1, Ken 2, Matt 3.
That's Big 10-4.
That's how we're doing.
Right. Here's the winning story. Everybody get your voting texts ready. Man busted for spicy chicken domestic battery.
Sounds good.
Police say defendant hit woman with a thrown Chick-fil-A sandwich. During a Valentine's Day quarrel about infidelity, a man allegedly struck his female companion in the head with a thrown Chick-fil-A spicy chicken deluxe sandwich.
Goodness.
That's the one that comes with lettuce and cheese, and that's a pricey sandwich.
No, honey, that was my pleasure.
According to the Florida police, who arrested the suspect for domestic battery, investigators say Theodore Anderson and the victim were having dinner in their home Saturday evening when they began to argue. The defendant cops charged threw a spicy deluxe chicken sandwich, striking the victim on the head with it. Anderson then tossed a styrofoam cup of Blue Powerade, which left the woman soaked in sports drink.
You got to get yourself a delicious Chick-fil-A lemonade. What are you doing with your life?
When officers arrived at the St. Petersburg residence, they reported spotting the Chick-fil-A delicacy broken apart in the living room where the incident occurred. The sandwich was not collected as evidence. Anderson reportedly admitted to the spicy chicken attack. The 28-year-old woman, cops say, alleged she had been battered by Anderson several times during the 3 years they have lived together. Charged with domestic battery, a misdemeanor, Anderson spent a day in jail before being released Sunday evening on a $5,000 bond.
You can hit a man with a Big Mac, but not a spicy Chick-fil-A.
A judge has ordered him to have no contact with the victim. Anderson's rap sheet includes a November 22 conviction for violating a domestic violence restraining order involving a former girlfriend.
What did he throw at her?
I'm going to guess he went with
a Big Mac.
This is Florida. I'm going to say he hit her with a Joe's Crab Shack crab leg.
I was thinking a delicious cup of Wendy's chili.
And also, don't sleep on the blue Powerade. It's delicious.
I like how the reporter mentioned they did not confiscate the sandwich as evidence.
Well, I mean, I feel like that leaves a hole in the case.
You've got to have the weapon.
Sir, I didn't hit her with anything. I didn't hit her with a sandwich or anything. Where's the evidence of the sandwich?
Where
Your Honor,
is it?
Where's the chicken?
I see what you did there. I was trying to do if the chicken doesn't fit, you must acquit.
If the chicken is not spicy, the defendant will be feeling nicey.
Ken. Do you have a nincompoop, sir?
I do, boy.
Yeah.
My nincompoop is an actor by the name of Shia LaBeouf.
Hold on a second.
Wait, he got his butt kicked, didn't he?
I hit her with the sandwich because she was acting like a bad person.
Oh, you caught yourself
Okay,
there.
anyway, now see, I want to know this story. I vaguely saw this headline, and I'm very interested in this story. Shia LaBeouf, weirdo.
Shia LaBeouf arrested on Mardi Gras morning in New Orleans. The actor facing 2 counts of simple battery after New Orleans police say he punched 2 men early Mardi Gras morning. According to Axios, LaBeouf has been patronizing multiple uptown bars over the past few days. Apparently, you got The Hollywood Reporter and TMZ and other outlets following him around. He reportedly showed up at Miss May's shirtless. He was asked to leave after he tried to, quote, be a celebrity bartender. The altercation happened at the R Bar. Several hours later, bystanders, you can see, are holding LaBeouf down until police arrive. LaBeouf at times getting punched because he's trying to get up. The actor was taken to a hospital for medical treatment, then later released. LaBeouf was arrested on 2 counts of simple battery, according to court records. He listed a Laurel Street address there in court records, matching an uptown home purchased in December for $1.1 million. But it's unknown if he actually owns that place or not. But apparently, Mr. LaBeouf is in need of some help.
Ken, I hate to do this. It's pronounced LaBeouf.
Jackson. I think it's LaBeouf.
No, it's LaBeouf.
All right, LaBeouf.
He was big on Disney Channel when I was a kid.
Shia LaBeouf.
I think it's LaBeouf.
No.
I think I've heard it both ways.
I don't think it matters. He was the one that did the performance art. I want to say it was New York City, where he just stood in front of a camera like forever. Like it was like an odd. I mean, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like weirdo performance art that he did, where he set up a camera and just stood there.
Yeah.
And anyone that wanted to could come stand next to him or do whatever they wanted to do, but he just stood there on a webcam for as long as he could. I mean, he's a weird dude, however you pronounce his name.
He was in the Transformers movies.
He was in It
is LaBeouf.
Yeah, that's what Ken said, LaBeouf. It's not LaBeouf like Jackson was saying. It's LaBeouf.
You see what he does to me, Ken?
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Sorry about that, Mr. Shia.
He was in the wonderful feature film Holes.
He was in the greatest game ever played, golf movie.
That actually did a really good job in that movie.
He's a good actor.
He was in Transformers.
He's a fine actor. I've got no I've got no qualms with his acting chops.
I think he's got some personal issues he might need to take care of.
Yeah, he's got a little psychological issues going on. But if you've never seen Holes, Sigourney
Holes is
Weaver,
such a good movie.
John Voight.
John Voight?
Oh, yeah, John Voight was in Holes.
Awesome.
Henry Winkler was in Holes.
Henry Winkler.
Yeah, he was trying to make, what did he make? What was it called? Sploosh? No,
you
it
mean
wasn't
Splush?
No, it wasn't Sploosh. What was it? It was, the product that he made to make your shoes not stink at the end.
Air freshener?
Have you seen the movie Holes, Jackson?
I haven't seen it in probably 10, 15 years. It has been a long time since I've sat down and watched that movie.
My favorite line in Holes was from John Voight, where somebody says something about telling him a story. Can't we tell him a story? Y'all want to hear a story? Here's a story. There once was a magical land where it never rained. The end. It's awesome.
He was also in Even Stevens.
Shia LaBeouf?
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf.
Mm-hmm. As in, no clothes on, as he didn't have a shirt on.
He didn't have a shirt.
He got his butt kicked, too.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
He lost that fight.
Yeah. Here's my nincompoop, fellas. This is the big winner. A staggeringly stupid. Remember, the rule is nobody dies. Nobody
That's right.
died in this story.
That's right.
But this dude is staggeringly stupid, according to the court. The man tattooed 3 children, and he's been jailed for 3 years as a result. Patrick Coe's victims said they thought he was giving them temporary tattoos, but he actually gave them permanent tattoos. His actions with a home kit resulted in 3 children suffering pain and having to take medication in case of infection. Coe, 31, of Newcastle, admitted to 3 counts of child cruelty. The children complained of pain while Coe was tattooing them.
Goodness.
The children had to be taken to the hospital and given preventative antibiotics for hepatitis and tetanus, while one of the children had a minor infection as a result of Coe's action. When he was arrested, Coe claimed, quote, he didn't say anything wrong with giving kids tattoos. The judge in the case said the tattoos were cosmetic disfigurement, permanent injury, and the children in question did not have the choice in the matter. The judge went on to tell Coe, as he was sentencing him to 3 years, you are staggeringly stupid. To which I say, no, sir. Your Honor, with all due respect, this man is not stupid. This man is a nincompoop. That's how we play nincompoops in the news. Sploosh is correct, by the way. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners. Sploosh. He was also in Indiana Jones. He was in the Indiana Jones films. No. He did a good job. He's a good actor, just a crazy person. You can vote for Ken Weaver. You can vote for Matt Murphy. And that's about that. 53 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Vote early, vote often. 615-737-9986.
Vote for me!
6 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. By the way, just want to clear it all up. Channel 4 says it has confirmation now from ICE that ICE has not purchased anything anywhere in Wilson County for another detention center. Meanwhile, a security scare at the U.S. Capitol today. A man was arrested after running toward the building with a shotgun. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy with the latest.
U.S. Capitol Police say the 18-year-old suspect got out of a Mercedes SUV with a loaded shotgun and began running toward the west front of the Capitol. Officers ordered the man to drop the gun, and he complied. Chief Michael Sullivan says the suspect was arrested wearing a tactical vest and gloves.
And when we looked in the vehicle, he had a Kevlar helmet and a gas mask in the vehicle.
Congress is not in session this week, and most lawmakers are home in their districts. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Well, a federal judge has again blocked Immigration and Customs Enforcement from re-detaining Salvadoran national Kilmar Abrego Garcia, citing a lack of any viable deportation plan. Garcia's case has drawn national attention after he was mistakenly deported last year, despite a ruling that he faced danger in El Salvador. He was later brought back to the U.S., charged with human smuggling due to a traffic stop here in Tennessee, charges he has pleaded not guilty to. And investigators in Pima County, Arizona, are back at square one in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News samples of DNA from a glove didn't trigger any matches in a national database. We get more from ABC's Alex Stone.
We now know that investigators have been going in the FBI to gun shops around the Tucson area to see if they can get any leads on where the gun that was seen in a holster in the doorbell video, where that gun came from and where that fairly unique holster came from. And also that earlier in February that they were using drones to look for any signal from Bluetooth from her pacemaker, and that they were trying to get a signal from that pacemaker by flying drones, something called Blue Fly.
Civil rights icon and two-time presidential candidate Jesse Jackson has passed away. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope.
He had been leading civil rights demonstrations for decades. In 1984, Jesse Jackson founded the National Rainbow Coalition, later to become the Rainbow Push Coalition, which he led until a 2017 Parkinson's diagnosis forced him to step down.
We're resigning, we're not retiring.
And indeed, 3 years later, he was front and center during the pandemic.
Please get your vaccination now. They work, they matter.
Jesse Jackson was surrounded by family when he died at 84. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Franklin still showing that crash. 65 southbound past Paytonsville Road, Goose Creek bypass. That's where the Highway Patrol said drivers were going the wrong way on the on-ramp from Goose Creek to avoid traffic. Authorities don't like that sort of activity. In Whites Creek, we got a crash reported, 24 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard, and in Glencliff, a wreck, 40 eastbound at Spence Lane, and Brentwood, 65 southbound at Concord Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN entering hour number 4 of the big show this Tuesday, February the 17th. It's episode 979. 3 weeks until episode 1000. It's also day 394 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. That's out of 1,460.5. We like to remind you of those numbers, especially for you liberals in the listening audience, because we know it absolutely freaks you out. Speaking of freaking you out, I've got an update, Jackson, on the polling. Polling is now closed for nincompoops today.
Oh.
And Jackson, just to go to show you that every vote counts, I've not missed anything. I went back over this 3 times.
And I lost.
You did.
I lost to you again.
It was 13 to 12 to 11. One of the closest voting experiences of nincompoops of the news.
Incredible.
And Matt Murphy is the victor. Yeah,
How
that's
many
2 in a
did
row.
I get?
That's 2 in a row, 2 in a row, 2 in a row, 2 in a row.
How many did I get?
You got the 12.
All right, votes are back open for another 2 minutes as long as you vote for me and not Matt.
Mm-hmm. That's the way you roll, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, that's why people think you're a Democrat. Because you just open the polls whenever you want to. You get as many votes as you need. Then shut them on down, boys.
Oh, looks like we got another box of ballots.
Look at here. Oh, dear, oh, me. Donald Trump's getting a few votes. Oh, the toilet's overflowing. We got to shut her down.
Gonna have to shut counting down.
Yeah, flush those bad boys down the old commode. By the way, just a consensus from the room. I don't know if you guys are following this. I hate to say it this way, but I'm kind of losing interest.
Oh, I'm back in the lead.
Oh, you mean the 2 votes for Jackson from our car that just came in?
2878, thank you, and I accept my nincompoops victory. Polls are closed. Open another vote for me. Polls are back open.
He is like a Democrat. It's like Kamala Harris.
It's like we're in Fulton County.
I know. It's like you're Kamala. That means that I'm Tim Walz. Old tampon Tim gathering votes. No, Jackson, that's not how that
that's
works.
another one.
No, it's not. Y'all got to vote early, vote often.
Normally we end them at 6:10. It sounds like Matt was ready to stop the vote.
That is incorrect. We end the vote when we come back from the top of the hour news
but we're
break with
perpetually late, so normally it's about 6:10.
Yes, you can figure
there's
this.
a vote for Weaver. Polls are closed.
You're funny guy.
Thanks, Mom.
Y'all think? I'm beginning to wonder. Maybe it's premature for me to wonder this, but I'm beginning to wonder if this person responsible for the almost said death, the abduction of Nancy Guthrie is going to get away with it. because every turn that seems to draw us closer to a conclusion just turns out to be a dead end. Y'all remember they thought they had a suspect in custody. They let that guy go. Then they raided a home and they let those people go, and that it was determined that that was unrelated to the Nancy Guthrie case. Then suddenly they found a glove. Oh, it's a glove. We believe it's the exact same glove that we've seen in the video. And then there's no DNA on that glove. The suspect in the doorbell video has not yet to be identified, except they've identified some of the clothing on him that appears to all be from Walmart. At least the backpack's from Walmart. The gloves are believed to be from Walmart. The mask is believed to be from Walmart. I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder exactly what they're going to get out of this. Anyway, closer to home, there's a story that's making the rounds, and we've been talking about it throughout the course of the day, and that is the business ownership in downtown Nashville concerned about the possibility that they're going to have to close down because of the mayor's and the Metro Council's insistence that they raise property taxes yet again on the people of Davidson County. Obviously, we have focused on some of these local businesses, iconic businesses that mean a lot to people, businesses like Acme Feed and Seed, businesses like Arnold's, Peg Leg Porker is another one. Residents are feeling the pinch, too. And I'm hearing from a lot of you who are suggesting that you have to get out of Davidson County. I'm sad to report. Well, no, I'm not sad to report. It's a reality that when it came time to look for property, I never considered Davidson County as an option. Just did not. Davidson County, they tax too much. They give back too little. It was never a consideration for me and my family. I like Nashville. I like you people that live in Nashville. I like what Nashville brings to the table. I like the amenities. I like the vibe that you get. I mean, I enjoy going downtown from time to time. I enjoy going to a football game across the Cumberland. I enjoy all of those things, but I can enjoy them from Murray County. And we never considered, we did not put Davidson County as an option when we were looking for homes in and around this community. We put Rutherford, we didn't, actually I take that back. We didn't do Rutherford because I was worried about I-24. But we did Sumner County, we did Wilson County, we did Murray County, we did Williamson County, Cheatham County. But no Davidson. Why? Because of the taxation, because of the lack of responsive city service. And I hear from resident after resident all the time telling me the same thing, that as soon as I am able, if I am able, I am out. And I understand what happens when you create a donut in the metro region and people are trying to get out of the metro region. Secondarily, many of these businesses that have been here for so long, operations that were born as mom and pops that have grown for so many years, they're saying that their fate is almost sealed with this property tax increase. According to Tom Morales of Acme Feed and Seed, he says that he might very well have to shut it down. Morales helped preserve the Loveless Cafe. Now, this was before my time, when the Loveless Cafe apparently faced a demolition to make way for a strip mall. It was Tom Morales who rallied investors to the cause and saved what is now one of the most revered restaurants in Tennessee. And just about almost everyone listening to the sound of my voice has been to the Loveless. Well, if you've been in the last number of years, you have been there because of Tom Morales. He also preserved the historic Woolworth lunch counter. And now, after preserving Acme Feed and Seed, now Acme Feed and Seed closed down in 1999. It sat fallow for a better part of a decade. And now he says that taxation will kill him. that he went from a $129,000 a year tax bill to a $600,000 tax bill, an increase of almost $500,000. And you say, well, what does the mayor, what does the city council, what do the Metro councilors have to say about this? And they go to the mayor, does Fox 17, and I'm getting this story from Fox 17. They did great work on this. And their response, the mayor's response, now you understand, this is an institution of Nashville. It's authentic music. It's real musicians. It's a sense of history that you cannot recreate. And the mayor said, quote, "It's not up to me whether he keeps that business open. The market evolves. New businesses start, even as beloved old businesses close." In other words, it's just business, not personal, just business. Morales says it isn't about profit. It's about preserving the soul of Nashville. I've spent 40 years doing something for this city. I can't even get a meeting with the mayor. He's filed a formal appeal of his tax assessment. The way we survive as a city is embracing what's authentic. Tourists see through make believe. They see a $17 drink and think it's a tourist trap. Well, it's natural to think of that. What Morales says is there's nothing else I can do about it, because my tax bills are so high. And the mayor doesn't seem to care. In the meantime, if you live in Davidson County, you're not even getting fair city services. You can't even get reliable electricity, and you can't even get answers when the electricity goes out and there's no response from NES. And now it seems that no one will be getting satisfaction. Apparently, these folks are meeting as we speak. Teresa Broyles-Applin, scheduled to appear. There's a vote happening. I don't know if she's going to appear, but there's a vote happening by the Metro Council as to whether or not to recommend her termination on the board. The only entity that can terminate her would be the board of directors, which I repeatedly asked and have yet to get a satisfactory answer. What the board of directors, what the purpose of the board of directors would be, because I don't feel like there is a purpose for them. I can't find one. What can they do that the Metro Council can't do? It's a layer of bureaucracy that is there specifically designed to insulate the elected officials from accountability and responsibility. That's all. That's all. In the meantime, your calls, your super text, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986, 18 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When I got into our facility just before the appointed hour of 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and just as I came on air with you, and I hope you've been with us every moment of that time. By the way, 615-737-9986. We'd love to hear from you. 615-737-9986. Once again, 615-737-WWTN, either via our phone lines, which are always open and available to you, or the super text line. When I got here, I turned our monitor on #NeverCNN. I always say that I watch CNN so you do not have to. I consider it to be an occupational hazard. CNN is a garbage network full of garbage people spewing, well, garbage. They do not care about the truth. They care about the narrative. They have demonstrated it over and over and over again. This is not about presenting the news from a particular viewpoint. That I can handle. It's about treating you and I like we're stupid and trying to convince us, gaslight us into believing that they are presenting the news in a fair, equitable, and balanced fashion, which is not true. One of the reasons that you will not find me criticizing MSNBC, yes, I dead named them. Yeah, I dead named them. I don't care. You know what they call themselves now, Jackson? MS Now. That's what they call themselves. Well, it'll always be MSNBC to me. And I don't fault them because at least they admit their bias. CNN does not. But I digress. So I have watched over the last at least 3.5 hours. And then before, as I was doing show research at home, I was watching a bit of it. And I have, for the life of me, I don't recall seeing a single story on the latest transgender shooting. Not a single one. The alleged shooter is a man by the name of Robert Dorgan. Robert Dorgan wanted you to believe that he was a female, and he apparently went through some sort of gender reassignment surgery, whatever that is. You know, you can call it reassignment. Some would call it gender mutilation surgery, sure. The trans suspect accused of shooting and killing 2 people at a Rhode Island ice rink earlier this week posted on X about going berserk after an actor insisted that Representative Sarah McBride is a man. McBride was born a man, is a man, has male biology, but identifies as a transgender woman. I've often said that if you show me a little commitment, I'll show you a little commitment. And if you get the surgery, then I'll call you anything you want. That said, Robert Dorgan apparently did, but he became agitated after actor Kevin Sorbo, a gentleman that we've spoken with on the Matt Murphy Show on a couple of occasions, wrote on X that Tim McBride is a man. Community, note this if I'm wrong, alongside a photograph of the Delaware Democrat. In response, Dorgan, whose profile lists the name Roberta Dorgano, wrote, "Keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk." Well, he went berserk. The post came one day before Dorgan is accused of opening fire inside of the Dennis M. Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island during a hockey game between Coventry and Blackstone Valley schools in what police described as a, quote, family dispute. A family contact told Fox News that the gunman shot and killed his ex-wife, Rhonda, and her son, Aiden. Dorgan's former in-laws who were at the game are both in critical condition and fighting for their lives. Aiden's 2 siblings, his brother who's a high school hockey player, his sister who's studying to be a nurse, are left behind without either parent. Dorgan then turned the gun on himself, shot and killed himself. Why? Well, it was 6 years ago that the Dorgans got a divorce because Robert Dorgan decided that he wanted to be a woman. And his wife decided that she didn't want to marry a woman or be married to a woman. And so She divorced him, signaling in part the genital mutilation as one of the irreconcilable differences in their divorce proceedings. So I'm beginning to believe, considering what happened at the Covenant School, considering what has happened over the last several years in the United States of America with the number of, it is my understanding that the estimates are that like 0.2% of the general population would call themselves legitimately transgendered. Yet it's beginning to feel like there's far more than 0.2% of the population that is lashing out in a violent fashion. And I am told reliably by our friends on the political left that if you identify these people in the proper fashion, and if you allow them to live a life of their choosing, and allow them to live the clothing of their, or rather to wear the clothing of their choosing, and if you allow them to be the gender that they think they were born to be, that will lead to a life of happiness and mental stability and productivity. And gosh, if I didn't know any better, and if I wasn't told this reliably by these people on the political left, I would think that maybe that's not happening for these folks. You know, sadly, in all seriousness, the biggest damage that is being done in American society, in our cultural fabric, because the backlash, the whiplash, the pendulum snapping back to some semblance of sanity has already well begun. And we are recognizing that this is nonsense. I understand and I believe that there are people who are genuinely gender dysphoric. Those people are very few and far between. And the political left has used that disability, that dysphoria, to their own advantage. And they've convinced a subset of people, and it's sad what they've done to them. They've convinced people who are not genuinely gender dysphoric, and once again, and by that I mean that wires have been crossed in such a way that they have mental impairment. And I'm not saying that to be nasty. I'm saying that because that's the most accurate way to describe it. There's mental impairment in such a way that while these individuals were born a boy or born a girl, born a male or born a female, that they in their brains think they should have been the opposite sex. That's a real thing. And it's very rare. We should have sympathy for those people. You know what we should not do is use that real diagnosis as a springboard to point to our children and convince our children that if you are mildly unhappy or if you're going through problems in your very, very young lives, that everything will be solved if you just decide that you're supposed to be a girl or you're supposed to be a boy. And you start wearing a different set of clothes and growing your hair a different way. Life is not like that. It doesn't work that way. That doesn't solve. No thing solves all of your issues. That's not the way life works. And I'm sorry to tell you that a lot of 13 and 14 and 15-year-old kids who grow up in these liberal households become convinced because these pseudo-psychiatrists and pseudo-intellectual doctors convince the parents in a lot of ways that this is going on in their children's lives. And they sell them a bill of goods. I'm not talking about the genuinely gender dysphoric. I'm talking about those that aren't, but that they're sold a bill of goods, that everything will be better if you decide that this is what really is going on in your life. Everything will be fine. And when it's not, when it's not fun, when it doesn't solve their problems, when it doesn't create a sense of mental stability and calm and peace, when their souls are still torn asunder, their minds break. Their minds break. I suggest to you that while we have been sold this nonsense that disallowing, quote unquote, gender affirming care, which is the language they use, leads to suicidal ideation, I think the opposite is true. To speak to 2805's comment, I'm not suggesting this happens every day. I'm suggesting that we are tearing minds apart by convincing young people that if they decide that they were born in the wrong body, that'll make everything okay for them. And that's not true. That's not true. And this spike in a belief in transgenderism is a cultural phenomenon. It's not an actual one. And there will be shame cast upon those who caused it for the rest of eternity. 34 after the hour on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 2805. Hey, Matt, what's your thought of Trump's FCC not allowing Colbert to show that interview with the Texas Democrat? That's not true. You need to fact check what you just said. CBS itself came out and said that they were the deciders in all of that and that they gave Stephen Colbert several opportunities and options. Donald Trump's FCC did not come up with the rules. The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, those rules on equal time have been in place for a long, long time. There's a reason that I can't keep my radio show and run for Congress, because I would have to offer equal time to all individuals that I was running against. There's a reason that I can't keep my radio show and run for mayor. You know, I was kind of fancying running for mayor of Mount Pleasant. How about that? Nope, not going to do it. Don't worry, Mount Pleasant. You're all good. Why? Because I would have to give up the radio show. Doesn't matter the size of the public role. What matters is that you're running for public office, and the company governed by the FCC would have to give equal time to any and all other candidates. They're like, I don't know how many weeks away they are, but they're weeks away from that. And, oh, by the way, they would have had to give equal time to Jasmine Crockett, too, another Texas Democrat. So just fact check yourself and go and see CBS's statement on this that happened today. CBS said that the Donald Trump administration did not forbid them from doing anything. That it was CBS that created rules that Stephen Colbert could have abided by. They just told him he had to do it in a certain way, and Colbert decided to do it a different way because Colbert wanted to make the Trump administration the enemy. 2805 has responded and said, so what you're saying is because he doesn't have the Republican booked or anyone else who's running in that race, they can't show it. Is that what you're saying? I'm saying that it wasn't a Trump the Trump administration does not preclude before the fact any booking on any television show in America. CBS prevented that interview from happening on network television because CBS lawyers know what the rules are. And you either have to provide equal time or you're going to get fined as a result of not doing so. And those are rules that have been on the books for a long, long time. And by the way, I'd be just fine. To me, it would be all well and good if you eliminated those rules entirely. And it's not about the Republican, but it was about the Democrat. It was about his fellow Democrat in the race. He's running for Senate as a Texas Democrat. So is Jasmine Crockett. And I think the rules, I'm not so, I haven't looked at the rule lately, but I think the rules are different for primaries versus the general election. So, no. I don't. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has everything to do with CBS and their decision to follow the rules. And, you know, I suppose good for them. 2701, hey, Matt, you're spot on. It's sad and terrifying how some parents and crazy doctors, psychologists, or whatever are teaching their kids it's okay to be the opposite sex. It's terrifying because they're a future. I'm a 55-year-old female, and I don't have any children like you. Our kids are perfect, smiley face. I can't wrap my head around how anyone would think this is okay and normal. I've rambled enough, but I just don't understand. I don't understand either, Miss Becky. And I wish I did, but I don't. I do remember that being a teenager is hard. It's full of emotions and hormones, and it can be awful, and it can be a sticky wicket, and it's tough. And what these kids are being presented is some sort of magic pill where they say a few words to the wrong people, and those wrong people decide that all of the problems will go away if they just decide that they were born in the wrong bodies. And I'm certain that makes them feel special for a while. It makes them feel different. It makes them feel appreciated. It makes them feel the warm and fuzzies, but it doesn't make all of their problems go away. And they're sold that bill of goods in their minds of mush. That's what it does. Jeff is in Indiana with a thought on all of this. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Matt. Hey, yeah, isn't it completely amazing that if this guy that shot his family would have been a white conservative male, he'd have got more coverage on that than what Savannah Guthrie's mother got. Right
it
now.
Would have been all that CNN is talking about today if he was a white Christian straight male that decided to shoot up his family. It would be all over that network.
Oh yeah, it's like I say, it's we got to protect their own and everything. But since it's like all the murders in Chicago and everything, you don't hear nothing about that, much because that's black on black crime, and we can't report that either. If it had been a white gang of some kind, you'd hear more about it and everything. But even though the numbers are sky high, you don't hardly hear anything about it. But just a few things like this, you hear all about it. Yeah. These transgenders, I think we made a mistake in the Pete Hegseth did by kicking them out of the service, because these apparently are natural born killers and willing to take out whoever they want to take out and then go on suicide missions. All we'd have to do is to say your enemy has mispronounced your pronouns. Go get them.
Well, I will say this, that, while, thankfully, we have seen relatively few of these issues manifest themselves into killings. I think there have been, statistically there are more than there should be, but I think I did a count this morning and there's been 7 in the last 6 years of these types of shootings. I'm thankful that there aren't more, considering the number of people that you see on social media that claim to be misgendered or they, thems or different pronouns, or born male, present female, born female, present male. And they're all so angry. I thought that living a life of your own choosing was to make you happy. And oh, by the way, nobody's telling you you don't get to live the life you want to if you're a grown-up. That's the fascinating thing. All that people like Matt Murphy are saying to you is stop messing with children. Stop grooming them. Stop messing with their minds. Stop messing with their bodies. Stop messing with their hormones. And if you reach the age of majority and you want to do weird things to your body or dress in a certain way, let your freak flag fly. Go for it. It's a free country. I don't have to associate with you. You don't have to associate with me. And you can be as angry or as happy as you want. But for most of these performance artists, it's not about them being happy with themselves. It's about them demanding that you change the way you live, and you change the way you talk, and you change the way you think. That's not freedom. I do not care one bit what grown people do in their own time, so long as they are not violating the rights of other people. My point has always been, lay off the children, man. Just lay off the kids. That's it. But they don't want to be left alone. They demand that I affirm their decision and agree with it, and I'm not going to do it. I would die before I do it. I would die before I deny basic biology. I'm going to go ahead and die before I tell you that if you're born with a PP, with male genitalia, and with male chromosomes, that someone assigned you male at birth. No one assigned you male at birth. You were born male at birth. I'm going to die before I deny scientific, biological, and spiritual reality. Now, that said, you don't have to deal with me. I don't have to deal with you. You can go do your own thing. You can find people that agree with you. Oh, no, they assigned that to you, and you really weren't a female. You were a male. But it didn't matter that you had the female parts. You were a male in spirit or whatever. No skin off my nose as long as you leave the kids alone. That's all. Just stop messing with the children. And by the way, that had Republican, Democrat, conservative, I don't care who you are. Stop messing with the kids. And yes, to answer your question, 2805, that absolutely has to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And I love the fact, 2805, you're like, stop messing with children should be something Republicans and Jeffrey Epstein learn how to do. Are you conveniently deciding that there were no Democrats on Epstein Island? There was a pretty prominent one that makes a number of appearances in photographic evidence suggesting that he has a lot to answer to. And I don't pretend for a second that Bill Clinton is going to get justice in this life. But I am comforted knowing that he will receive justice in the next. I believe that. I'm not judging. I don't have to. 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. How's your back? How's it feeling? You doing all right? I mean, are you hurting? Where do you hurt? How does it hurt? Ask yourself if you believe that you can be remedied of that pain through spinal decompression or other techniques offered by our good friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I encourage you to contact Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of the team. I made the switch to Dr. Mitch. I went to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I believe in the way they do their business. I know that they have spinal decompression. I know they have the HydroWave, which is a brand new piece of equipment, brand new technology. They're the first and only office in the state of Tennessee to have this. This is your very own stem cells in your body, regenerating tissue to grow new blood vessels for healing through a process called angiogenesis. Ask them about it when you make the call or stop by and say hello to our friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Online, you can find out more at painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com, or call 615-246-5009. 246-5009. You can have a pain-free life. Yes, it is possible. No, you don't have to continue to take pills. No, you don't have to rely on pain blockers. And certainly the last thing you should do is consider surgery. Now, for some people, surgery is a last and final option. They recognize that at the Wellness Institute. But wouldn't you want to exhaust all possibilities given the uncertainty of surgery before you do that? That's why the Wellness Institute is here. So make the call or stop by their website today. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. James Carville is like Skeletor's old uncle. I want to share this with you. It's a couple of minutes. Well, it's not even that long. It's like the first 30 seconds of this clip. You can't see it on Talk TV anyway. Here's James Carville with his solution as to how to save democracy.
Let's talk about democracy, and you have these people, importance of democracy and preserving democracy and saving democracy. Well, the truth of the matter is, people are right when they say this democracy is really imperfect. And they're going to have to do, if the Democrats win the presidency, the Senate and the House in 2028, which is not impossible. I don't know if you say likely or possible. I don't know what word you know, but it's certainly not impossible. They are just going to have to unilaterally add Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia states. They're going to have to, the Congress does give, the Constitution gives Congress power over federal elections. I don't think they can redistrict, but they're things they're going to do. They're going to have to do it. They're just going to have to do it. And they may have to expand the court to 13 members.
So this jackhole is saying that in order to save democracy, if the Democrats get power, they're going to have to rig the system to make sure that votes don't count anymore and that they've put their thumbs on the scale to the point that they never relinquish power again. By giving minuscule populations like the District of Columbia the same voting rights as Tennessee, for example, in the United States Senate, Puerto Rico too. So they take their thumb, they put it on the scale, and they ensure that the democratic process is not equitable any longer, and that's the only way to solve it. And oh, by the way, to circumvent the constitutional check against doing that, he says pack the court with 4 other justices, making a total of 13, giving yourself a supermajority on the United States Supreme Court. Yeah. So the way that you protect democracy is to destroy democracy. What a jackhole. We're back tomorrow, Wednesday edition, coming up then. Until next time, have a great evening. For Jackson Williams, Ken Weaver, Matt Murphy speaking and saying hug your loved ones. Easy for me to say. So long, everybody.